Welcome to Pretentious Taste, everybody. My name's Danny.
I'm
Alright.
Madison.
I'm RJ.
I'm Chuka.
You guys sound so fucking bored.
I'm like preserving my energy.
I'm
That's what I'm.
Okay.
I'm very satisfied right now. I just had some pretty good pancakes, so kind of just
I
lax.
thought you said. I thought you said that's a pretty good coke. I'm like, what?
This is like the intro to an NPR. Like, yes, just had some pancakes. Feeling relaxed.
All close to the microphone.
Are those pancakes streaming?
That's the thing to stream on Twitch.
Just eating pancakes.
Pancakes.
Sounds like you're invading my ear.
20,000 viewers.
Today's
Alright, now the weather.
this is a big episode because we're just in order to make up for the last episode, which was us, talking about video games for quite some time.
No video. No
video.
video. So if you want to listen, no video.
Banned.
I don't know what video games even are.
We're gonna talk.
Stop. Okay, can I say
strictly-
one thing?
What?
Can I say one thing about video games?
What? Say it.
I am very annoyed about the Street Fighter 5 beta. Yeah, I continue to play Street Fighter 4. That's it.
All right. Fair
All
enough.
right,
Fair enough.
that's it.
Indeed.
That's all we got.
So let's just get right into it, folks. We got a big, long day in front of us. What have we been doing with our weeks? Who wants to go first this time?
I thought we were gonna skip our weeks.
Yeah, I thought we were just gonna get.
No, I'll go. It was my birthday.
Well, we're already here.
Yeah,
Oh, awesome.
I turned 21.
You made it.
look at that. The big 2-1.
You can drink now.
I don't even drink, so it's not that important.
It's just so funny. The drinking age is 21. That's hilarious.
And I went to see some classical music. Gustavo Dudamel
Ooh.
conducting the LA Philharmonic,
Oh.
doing some
Sounds-
Tchaikovsky.
Sounds
Oh.
very wholesome. Very
It was-
like you're filling.
Oh my god, there's this like Chinese family behind us, and their kid would not shut the fuck up.
He was too enraged.
It was insane. And he had like this toy truck. He was like making like sounds like
Why
and
the hell-
he like leaned in. They weren't right behind us, they were like a couple rows back, but he leaned in. I had like looked back and the kid leaned in and like put the truck in front of the dude in front of him's face and like scared him half out of his mind. And then they left.
What he's saying is that truck could do a better symphony than that guy.
Yeah. Okay, so like Truck Boy is gonna grow up and he's gonna destroy like every musical convention ever with his album that's composed of nothing but truck sounds.
And
This is sounding like
he's gonna
some
be called
weird-
Fuckboy.
Weird postmodern version of Looper.
No, it's
That's
like
funny.
like you know how Pet Sounds used like animals? Like this kid
Sure.
Yeah.
is gonna use trucks.
Wow.
Truck
That's the most
sounds.
obnoxious thing I've ever heard. Truck
I can't wait for truck
drone music
sounds.
with trucks.
Truck
sounds.
It's gonna fucking low pass filter all of it. It's just droning trucks.
So stupid.
Oh man.
Anyway, that's me.
That you?
That is
R-
me.
RJ and I
Very
did
lean.
something.
Oh yeah, we did.
We
It wasn't within the week, but you know.
It was. Well, oh yeah, it wasn't because when
But
was
it
your
doesn't
show?
matter. Mine was the 14th.
Oh
was
wait,
within
shit!
the
I
week.
just remembered I went to a show too. I
It was
forgot.
within the week, RJ, because mine was the 15th. No, not the 15th. It was the 17th.
You guys can't talk too much about it though, because I haven't seen it. And I feel like we should just do like a whole
that is true.
show.
That's a good idea.
I'm
Like
wearing the
comparing.
shirt right now.
What about me?
Nice.
Oh, nothing on me.
Chewy,
Chewy,
you're a pleb.
only two people
Yeah,
care
Chewy.
about Death from Above. You
Wow.
and teenage girls.
Wow.
Hey, I like that album.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
Tell us about Death from Above.
No, I was gonna say when you guys all talking about Death Grips, I'm like, well, if you guys all have a super Death Grips episode, I'm just gonna like cook pasta and
No.
that was the other half.
Talk to us about Death from Above. This is music related.
Oh no, that's not what I was saying. Whatever, I don't even care anymore. I'm too tired for this anyway. Uh, so, Toronto was hosting the Pan Am Games. Like, it's kind of a big deal. Basically, we're trying to really flip this into a bid for the Olympics, which is going to be even worse if you drive everywhere like I do, because traffic fucking sucks. The
Yeah.
only thing I really got out of this, other than there were some pretty good events that I saw, was for whatever reason, the Ontario government decided, you know what, we'll just give you all the money to start booking bands. Like Flaming Lips were playing here for free.
Oh.
Ooh.
Bad Bad Not Good was playing here for free.
Yes.
Yeah, and Death from Above. I saw actually Bad Bad Not Good and Death from Above the same night.
You didn't see? Did
That
you
was
see
bad,
Flying
That's
Lips?
not good.
No, I didn't. I should. Like, I'm not really into them, but God, it was free.
But yeah,
I
that
should have
would've been
went.
a
I
hell
was
of a
actually kind of
performance.
busy.
What a deal.
So yeah, Bad Bad Not Good. Really like extremely talented to the point where I'm like, I think you could tell in that crowd who plays an instrument and who doesn't, because the people who could play instruments were looking at them like, what the? How can you even do that with a bass?
Oh yeah.
At one point, the drummer was like, I don't even know what he was keeping time with like some, I can't remember what percussive instrument it is, but he was doing that and he was using his snare and somehow also using the kick and the hi-hat at the same time. I'm like, how is he? This isn't even possible. How's he doing all of this?
I've been
That's
really
really-
wanting to see them live.
Yeah.
Like ever since
Oh my
I first heard
god,
them.
they're so talented.
Their cover of Flashing Lights, like.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
great. They
another
also did Lemonade. The
Yeah.
cover of
Oh,
Lemonade
yeah,
is
they did.
good.
Beach House covered Lemonade.
Yeah. And they did a cover of Flying Lotus song, which I always forget the name of that Flying Lotus song, but
Which-
they did, and it was really good.
Is it on the newer album?
No, it's on what was
The newer
last-
album had no covers.
No, I think it was which album? The Flying Lotus album or the
The Flying
Bad Bad Not
Lotus
Good?
album.
It wasn't on You're Dead.
Okay.
It was
on
on.
Cosmogramma?
No. It was on. What's the one in the middle? I think it's
Oh, the Quiet something.
Until the Night Comes. No.
Something about the quiet comes, right?
It's a very relaxed album.
Yeah.
It's very moody.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so we played something off that. That was really cool. But then yeah, Death from Above was there, and that's what everyone wanted to see because like at some point there was maybe like 150 people, 200 people there,
Right.
and I swear the time Death from Above got there was like 500 people there.
Holy
Wow.
shit.
Like one came to see them because like they're a Toronto band, right? So it got to the
Mhm.
point where people like the organizers were trying to talk, but they couldn't talk over like half the crowd yelling Death from Above, and some people didn't know how big Death from Above was, I guess,
Right.
because they were just there like, oh, it's fun, I can bring my family, and I saw some kid and their dad at the front. I'm like, get that kid out of there, get
Oh.
that kid out of there right now.
I,
Run.
Really aggressive.
I would like to speak briefly about Death Grips.
Okay.
Yes.
There was a 40-year-old father and his 12-year-old son there, and
What?
the 12-year-old kid was wearing a Never Forget cow shirt.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god. That father is an abusive father.
That
God.
like it was fucking.
Couchy justice for the kids.
Yep, couch justice for the kids. It was interesting to say the
I can't
least.
Wait.
I saw two or three people who weren't 12-year-olds wearing those shirts.
Really?
Those shirts.
I was thinking about wearing my Swan shirt, but then I was like, there's gonna be like 15 people there in Swan shirts. So I wore this shirt that's just covered in cheeseburgers that I got for $5 at Walmart.
Yeah, I saw that.
Should I wear my Sufjan shirt?
Yeah, you should wear your Sufjan shirt because there were no people wearing Swan shirts there, and
Wow.
I felt like I was just
I
like,
saw
well,
one or
shit.
two wearing Swan shirts.
There
I
was
saw
also
quite a few band shirts.
there's also this girl who made this skirt that had MC Ride's face on it,
Yeah.
and
That's-
apparently
You were telling me about her.
yeah,
Very terrifying.
yeah.
I remember that.
One of the people up in the balcony.
That's deeply unsettling.
Yeah, one of the security guards was like, "Does she have Rick Ross on her skirt?" Another security guard
They
was
do
like,
look similar.
"They do." Like Rick Ross is like the evolved version of MC Ride. Like
Yeah.
Pokemon.
Well, it depends how you look at it. MC
Yeah.
Ride could be like the Svelter, he's a faster Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
his attack is higher and he's faster. And Rick Ross has maybe slightly better defense.
Yeah, definitely
Or-
better defense
Like
and like.
Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee.
But
Those are not evolutions, RJ. Keep up,
Yeah,
man.
true. Oh,
No.
How are you been doing?
MC Ride's agility is
It-
really high though,
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
for
yeah.
sure.
He's
Like bird
Special attack is
Pokemon
probably
level.
very high too.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's like firefighting, right? Because he's the god of hellfire.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, he's probably a fire Pokemon.
Yeah.
Probably.
Mhm.
Maybe like a fire dark Pokemon.
Yeah, like a Hound. Oh, Houndoom's so cool. I love Houndoom.
Oh yeah.
Houndoom was-
It's like a hell dog, but also it's.
So
mad
what's
chill.
Rick Ross then? Rick Ross is also fire then.
Yeah, I can believe
Evolution.
that.
Yeah.
The only problem I have trouble believing that because the kid's bars are
his bars are not
very
fire.
water, very water,
Yeah.
Very water.
not fire at all.
Oh,
His
yikes.
So, I
verse-
don't know.
A lot of people give Jay-Z shit for his verse on Monster, but Rick Ross's verse on Monster is like 2 lines.
Yeah.
Like,
True.
The funny thing about Rick Ross on that same album, yeah, he was on that other song. Is it White Dress or
I don't
no,
know.
he wasn't in. Was he on Devil in a Red Dress?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was on Devil in a Red Dress. Yeah,
Okay.
his verse there was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
It was okay.
I think the
It was
weakest
bearable.
song on that track on that album is probably So Appalled. I think like all the verses on
That
that track
song-
are just.
That's the one with
terrible.
Swiss Beats.
Yeah,
So that's your first mistake. Swiss Beats was on it. He was doing things there.
that's a weak track. It's a really weak follow up to Monster. Like you go
Monster's
from like
great.
all of the lights in the Monster and like the amount of like
Fuck, so
adrenaline
hype and,
pumping
So much-
through you.
So much
Yeah.
production there. That's like nightmarish.
Yeah.
I was actually just listening to that the other day. I'm like, oh, I forgot to mention that other thing I was doing, but we'll just wait till after we get out of this segue. But
Yeah.
that's good. But yeah, the production on all the lights is nuts. I'm
I
hearing like
love that.
months upon months to finish the song. I can understand why, because that shit's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
All of the
it's so
lights
good.
is that man. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is such a good album.
That's
It's
a great album.
Really, really good.
It is a pretty good album.
It might. I mean,
It's not my favorite Kanye album,
It's
but
not my
like,
favorite Kanye
it's,
album either.
it might be mine.
It's
That or
easily
it's mine.
like
Jesus, because I really fucking like Yeezus.
best. In my opinion, the best Kanye album is Late Registration. And the always
I-
has been Late Registration.
Late Registration is a close second for me, but my favorite's 808s.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
808s
Alex'
is like.
favorite
The
is
interesting
808.
choice.
I like 808s, but like for me, 808s is like the dude on the bench watching everyone else play soccer. Like he's cool, like he needs to be there and shit, but like.
But
you
808s
ain't
was
in
never
here.
meant to be the dude playing soccer. He was supposed to be on the bench the entire time. You know?
Well, that's what do I do? I'm paying him to be on the bench. Is what I'm doing.
Yeah, because he's sad. He's just
That's not helping me. We just cut him then.
look.
Because he's.
He's just a sad dude sitting on the bench trying not to have a horrible time.
What's
The
he
production
asking
on that
for?
album's really good. Come on.
Street
It is good.
Street
I-
is a song that stuck with me for like 6 years.
Yeah.
Like, I would hear like certain things would just remind me of that song.
My first Kanye song was Gold Digger, but then my second Kanye song
Really?
was Heartless.
See, my first
Oh, that's
Kanye
weird.
song was Through the Wire.
Through the Wire, that shit changed my life
Yeah,
Mhm.
in terms of
then-
hip hop because I was falling out of love with hip hop.
yeah. It was Through the
At that
Wire
time,
and
when I
then
was, like,
Jesus
12.
Walks.
Yeah, when I was like 12 and Through the Wire.
I
came out.
wasn't into Kanye West until like my latter years of high school.
I was very into Kanye West. My mom was
When I was,
really
like,
into him.
He was
So yeah.
the soul beats, man.
Yeah.
This is Soul Beats.
Started that shit.
And Kanye, you know, like his bars nowadays are kind of inconsistent, but like
Yeah.
on his on Late Registration and College Dropout, his bars, every song he
Crazy.
fucking spits
Couldn't
gold.
touch it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like especially that song with Blue Ivy, or not Blue Ivy. That was stupid.
Jay-Z's.
Yeah,
Jay-Z's
Jay-Z's unborn daughter was on that track.
daughter.
No,
Bars for days.
Never Let Me Down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the one with Brandy?
No, well, yeah, no, that's Aaliyah that sings on that.
No, that's Brandy.
That's Aaliyah.
Wait, Never Let Me Down. Where's that from?
It's off College Dropout. It's got
And
the
it
spoken
couldn't
word.
possibly be Aaliyah. I don't think it could be Aaliyah. Then.
Yeah, it was an Aaliyah sample. It's not Aaliyah like she had died,
Oh.
but it's
For
an Aaliyah
whatever
sample.
reason, I'm thinking about the Brandy song. I'd probably like it better, but that's.
It's
Um,
yeah, Jay Ivy's on it. Jay Ivy. It's the spoken
J.
word.
Ivy. I understand how you would be confused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool,
Yeah.
but Death Grips.
Yeah, Death
You're-
Grips. Anyways, I'm wearing the tour shirt right now. It's like really expensive online, which is crazy.
How much
Okay.
are they flipping for? Like $100?
Yeah, about 100. Yeah, it's what I
Jeez.
the last I saw was 80. It could have possibly gone up. I heard rumors that it's gonna be online after the tour. So I kind of feel bad for all the people who are buying it right now, for like 80 bucks.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
RJ, you had a merch man incident, didn't you?
Oh yes. The merch man thought he was Death Grips because we get it. The doors open and we're allowed in. So me, my friend Brennan, and the two dudes that that we met in line just go up to the merch table because like we want to get one of these shirts. We get up there, and there's a sign that says "Be back in 30 minutes." Now, do we know when 30 minutes from? No, so we just sit there and kind of wait, and then it gets to the point where it's like we've been here for longer than 30 minutes.
Okay.
And it's just like okay, this is the death grips of merchmen. I get it. Okay. And then we hear the crowd cheering for some instrument tech guy, whatever, coming on stage.
Yeah, that was happening to us as well.
Everyone's on there. It happens at every show.
Every show, people clap for the merch or the techies.
Which good for them. They deserve it.
That's right. You're like crooning into your microphone.
And then we were like, okay, you know what, screw this, and we just went over and waited for the band, which didn't take that long. No, people were like, maybe we're supposed to be the merch people.
Maybe that makes sense.
Maybe we're the merch people.
But apparently he showed up like 5 songs before the set was over.
Wow, good job.
And then the stuff was gone by the time it was even over.
Wow.
That really sucks because this shirt is really nice. It's a really nice shirt.
I would buy you one, RJ, if they didn't cap the
one per person.
The amount.
Really.
Oh yeah, that's right. They are doing 1 per.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'll live without T-shirt. No.
You had the experience.
Yeah, I got the experience of waiting in line.
I'm gonna
there was a
get
lot of
my
waiting.
T-shirt and I'm gonna wear it to work.
Like to the point to where actually, like before Death Grips came on, I was really restless. Like I was like, okay.
It's a bad feeling.
Okay,
I'm always kind of hyped up for.
How long did it take for Death Grips to go on after, like, the doors opened?
They played all of Fashion Week and then all of the IOI's album.
I see. That's interesting.
Stuff.
That's interesting because I hear that often, but like what happened was like they played all of Fashion Week and then they played the weird collage thing.
Yeah.
And then like at one point our crowd started chanting Death Grips. And then not long after that they actually came on. So we never got to hear the IOI's thing.
Wait, so they didn't play the IOI's at your show?
Not even a song.
Wow. Yeah, they played the entire album. And I remember one time we saw like Zach Hill poke his head out. And I screamed. Like it was kind of quiet actually, besides the music. And I just screamed, "I love you, Zach Hill," and that guy's a monster.
Oh yeah, he is. Anyways, we're slowly merging into the Death Grips talk.
Yep.
I know. I said can we wait, but then
let's save it. Let's stop the horse here.
Yeah.
And start walking.
And let's walk right into Chewy. What about your week?
Well, I never got to finish the what happened at Death from Above.
Yeah,
I didn't even start. So just a swarm of people came, and then even though you couldn't have an open bottle there was beer smell. You know when you go to a concert, you can count on 2 things.
Yeah.
Beer smell and weed smell.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
You can always count on those 2 things. And so people were waiting for you guys to come in. Yeah, the technician came on to like check the dude's bass. It's like a bass and drum like duo. And like yeah, and then it disappears. And then so the 2 dudes come out and like their symbol, if you've ever seen it, is like it's them but as elephants. Mm-hmm. So there's all this shit, like there's all these symbols everywhere, and then they're starting to light up when they open with one of their songs, and the crowd's like losing their mind, and so they're playing they played a lot of songs too, and then a bunch of like moshes start forming, like 70 people deep, like it's just growing and growing, and then I tip into it like I always do when I go to the show. They're like, all right, you get in there, and you start getting pushed around and shit. And then I got punched in the neck. Oh. But on so much adrenaline, I couldn't even feel it. I didn't feel it at all. And they go like, oh, sorry. I'm like, and you know how this is a Canadian crowd? The first time they started rushing, this girl pushed me like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it is what it is. And it got to the point where they performed like probably the most famous song, Romantic Rights.
Okay.
And so everyone knew the lyrics, and it was like kinds of people yelling these lyrics. Like, it was to the point where you couldn't even really hear the main singer like sing the lyrics because it was so loud. And it ended with fireworks, and that was nice. Keep in mind that this gig was at City Hall.
Wow.
Yeah, they right outside of City Hall.
That's really cool.
And, yeah, and I was very disoriented, like roaming the streets of downtown Toronto, and my underwear smelled like beer for the next week. And I don't know why. I didn't drink any beer.
It just smelled like it.
Your underwear did.
It was inebriated. I know, but yeah. Like Death from Above was like one of those bands I wanted to see, like them and like the Pixies and stuff. But
Right.
it's not even worth seeing the Pixies anymore.
It really isn't.
But like,
My
so,
mom had tickets to Pixies and she didn't go.
like when the Pixies first came back, that's when I should have saw them.
Yeah.
I was
Right.
going to, but I
Did they
didn't.
still
But
have
yeah, so,
Kim with them?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
When my
No,
mom
yes.
had tickets,
First, yeah.
she
That's when they
had
had Kim.
Kim tickets.
Like in around 2011, 2012, they still had Kim.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was like one of those like bucket lists. Like, I finally saw them. So if they fucking disappear again for another 10 years, I got mine.
Yeah.
So that was great. Guess the rest of my week, job searching.
Yeah.
What else? I'm not gonna talk about video. Oh yeah, fuck, I forgot. I've been working on like some new music, some stuff. It's like I have like a 5-song EP, I guess. I'm not even gonna plug it when I get it at all.
Plug it.
No,
Is it-
that's not gonna happen. Cause
Plug
it's
it.
not even up.
I'll
Alright, well,
plug
I'll
it.
Well, yeah. Put it. Where are you gonna put it up? Are you gonna put it up on the website? Because you better.
No, I'm gonna put it up on my
Well, I'll reblog it on the website, so it doesn't matter. Unless you really don't want me to.
No, it's fine. I
I
just
want it to be
I just wanna-
consensual.
anyone who wants to listen to it can listen to it, but I'm not gonna. You'll see it. It'll be around. I'm
Hey,
just getting someone to do
Is
the
it okay with you if I put it on cassette tape?
Sure.
Okay, cool. Because I'm
It's
gonna
free.
do that.
It's free anyway.
All
If I
right.
do end up making like a physical copy of it, like, do you want me to send it to you? Because I'll do that.
Do you want me to make some cover art for you? You got some already?
Someone, if you follow her, thank you, Corn Dog.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
I've
I
seen
ain't
her
gonna-
blog some of her stuff.
Yeah, I ain't gonna shout her out, but we might be doing something.
That's cool.
Okay.
That's just
Well,
pretty cool.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, if you can send me some cover art, I could like make like 50 cassettes. I have like the equipment.
That's
Oh,
so
wow.
cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Make it cassettes of me.
You hear it happen here first.
I did that for my EP back in March. So yeah.
So this will be like my 5th EP. I don't know when I got to 5. It's probably the longest one because it's 5 songs. There's like an Interpol cover. Like some of the stuff is stuff I had to just loosely around, and I just like mixed it different ways.
I feel you.
So
yeah.
it fits better. And then there's like 2 like brand new songs, in addition to the 1 song I think I uploaded this week. So yeah, that's happening. But that's about it for me. I've been kind of rambling.
Mhm.
We somehow gone to like 6 other different topics.
It always happens.
It
You know,
really
that's
does.
the only way to do a podcast. I'm convinced that's the only way to do a podcast.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah.
All right.
So, who's next?
I'll take it.
Okay.
Because
Take it away.
I haven't been doing too much really, just listening to some of the albums, mostly the albums that we're going to be talking about later.
Oh,
Uh,
never mind. I'll just
also
when
some-
that comes.
Yeah, also some Japan droids. Tried them out.
Yeah.
I've been playing some Street Fighter, whatever. Haven't been watching too much, and I did have an interesting experience today, though.
Oh yes.
Tell us
Yes.
about it.
This is crazy.
Okay, so first context for why I even did this first place. I've been having a war with some wasps. And slowly I've been taking them out.
Same.
I've started the offense. And I actually saw the queen like straight up on the door, and that was
Wait.
terrifying because she was huge.
Going to Urban Outfitters too? I'll leave
Nice
that
one.
Anyways.
That just felt so bad. I'm so sorry. Jesus.
Anyway, so yeah, I've been waging war, and when it comes to, after I wake up, I'll go and check to see if they've built any more nests on the porch, because I've been trying to at least keep them off the porch. And then I open the door, and there's this box in front of the door. So I'm like, okay, it's ripped. It's not ripped. It's wrapped, gift wrapping. So I'm like, okay, what's up with this? Is this like for my grandmother or something? Because she gets packages from people all the time, usually containing some random Elvis memorabilia. But anyways, so I check and it says to RJ. So I'm like, okay, I look around. I look around the front. I'm like, okay, there's no from here. It can't be my grandmother giving me clothes because, you know, my grandmother recently did something with my sister, so that's impossible. So it's like, what is this? Why is this random box with no from on my porch?
What is this?
Is someone trying to kill me? I think of my enemies. Who's out there?
Your head.
Got a lot of enemies.
You know,
Drake.
I shut the door and I think, should I open this? Is this a good idea? So, you know, I pick up the box. I'm like, okay, this feels kind of heavy. I'm kind of worried. I unwrap the wrapping, and then it's some mailbox. So I look at the thing. I look at the name to see if I recognize the name. It's something from Arizona. So I'm like, all right.
Oh, no.
All right, I don't know who this is. This is even worse. All right, I'm gonna cut the scissors into the tape, and if this is the last thing I do, okay. And
I really think someone's gonna fucking like send you anthrax.
Hey, man,
no,
that's crazy.
but who knows?
Hey, man.
My friend actually has a legitimate
that-
fear of anthrax.
It's not that like okay, they're not the best thrash metal band, but like out of all of them, like, would you rather get an Anthrax record or like post-Black Album Metallica record? Like,
Well, I mean, don't act like every Anthrax album is pretty good either.
they've
had
got like
some.
one. They've got
I'm literally
one
gonna
good one.
fucking delete all of you.
Anyways, it turned out to be a Wii U that my friend decided to gift to me randomly. So that was
So
really nice. A Wii U with
nice.
Smash Bros.
Can I have a friend who gives me a Wii U?
That's up for you to decide.
If you would like to send Wii U's to Pretentious Taste, I'll
We'll
start
Post
a
our
PO
address
box.
on the website.
Yeah, I'll start a PO box.
Get a P.O. box.
Yeah. Only send Wii U's or Anthrax, and don't tell us what you're sending.
Hey, Anthrax the band! The band!
Yeah, send us anthrax.
Like I
Send
said,
a
I don't know
Scott
any of these dudes.
box.
So when someone comes to me, it's like, yeah, someone's sending Anthrax to your affiliated group. I don't even know them. They have my name, my information. I don't know how they got it.
Why is your PO box nothing but Anthrax and Wii U's? What is going on?
Well, you see.
Man, some FBI usually be like, what the fuck? Do they go together?
Is it a message?
Oh man,
But that's about it for me.
Well,
that's awesome.
speaking of wasps, I myself am having a war against some wasps as well. I guess it's the theme of the week, or
More
that, or RJ put some black magic curse on me in order to get rid of his wasps. Kind of
Well,
like
it
in the
hasn't
Paranormal
worked.
Activity movies, where like you take a photo and you just put wasp on it, and then you just give me the wasps.
Wasp.
Because there is a wasp's nest in the room next to mine, which just so happens to be a bathroom. And I don't know how they got in, but I know how they're getting out. And they're getting out via death. I am poisoning those fuckers. Much like RJ will wake up, I too will wake up, and it will be the first thing that I do. I'll get dressed, I'll go to the bathroom with a can of this fucking scary-ass Raid, and I'll look at the nest, and if I see any one of them, I just spray them. And I don't know how that's working, but I haven't seen one in like 2 days, so that's good.
Now, have you thought about just burning them alive?
See,
But
Just
it
burn
is
down
home.
your house.
It's
Yeah.
his home.
yeah, they're in my home.
Just burn down your house.
Yeah, I was applying Maddie's solution. It's just burn the house.
Just burn the
Move on.
house down.
Mhm. Burning down the house.
Will David Bjorn be happy with me?
Did you just say Bjorn?
Bjorn.
Isn't it burn?
Bjorn?
Is it
Yeah, I
Bjorn?
think it's
It's
burn.
burn.
It's burn.
like
David
I don't want to
Byrne.
call you out,
Bjorn
but
down
Bjorn
the
house.
is
You already done that.
amazing.
Bjorn down the house.
Bjork.
Yeah, like
yeah, it's like Bjork.
She would do that though. She would burn down your house. I don't trust Bjork.
She, man,
Be an art.
have you seen that video where she like attacked that like journalist?
Yeah, I have.
It's
I mean-
wild. Like
But that's a
You
little more
are seem like
understandable.
the type of person that eats like blood sausages and like
I thought you,
other people
for
in
some
grocery
reason,
stores.
I really thought you were gonna say that she was like the kind of person to eat like packing peanuts.
I thought
That's
Yeah.
just what came to mind.
I was just thinking raw fish.
Yeah, something
Well,
very
people
like
eat raw
meat.
fish. It's called sushi.
Well, not even
Okay,
meat.
so I
Something
meant
just
like straight
very,
up water, scales and all.
very visceral.
Okay.
Something
Okay.
very, very rustic, like sticks.
it's Icelandic people, man. Like,
I love Iceland.
like you know, her and the people from Mum and Sigur Rós, just like they all get together, and they just catch fish with their bare hands. And
Sounds
they,
like
Of
very good
Monsters
time.
and Men too.
huh?
Of Monsters and Men
Yeah,
too.
of Monsters and Men are from Iceland.
Yeah.
Oh, Iceland.
Salon.
For some
Iceland.
reason, for a split second, I thought Ice Age were from Iceland, but it's
Good
Danish.
job.
Stop.
Danish place.
All those cold white countries, they're all the same anyways. Like,
I love Iceland.
Now, I will say,
It's better
I
than
don't endorse those views. Disclosure, this is a joke. I don't get any mail about.
This is
Oh,
gonna
you guys
be
are
good.
racist.
The
Like, man, shut the hell up. No
Whatever,
time for
they're
this.
all white. You
Not
can't-
racist.
Racist
Xenophobic.
against white people.
xenophobic maybe, but not racist. Chewie did say that
I'm
thing.
I'm not France. Hey, it's not my fault you ended decide to just fuck off. Like I didn't. You ended up just gave up on the job. Like fuck it. Getting paid $12 an hour anyway. I don't care.
All I see is, you know what I really hate about Morrissey? Britain. Like,
That's not what happened.
That's exactly what happened. I'm
I will
sorry.
clarify. Here's what happened. We were talking about Morrissey, who I detest. Many of you would know this if you know anything about me. And then we talked about the dude from everything, like
Yeah.
the main singer, and his haircut.
stupid ass
His haircut is eccentric.
It's not eccentric. It's like greasy. Like I haven't showered in 2 weeks, and I'm slicking my hair to the side in a vein, like, so that you don't notice. Like that's what that haircut is.
It's. I was just saying, they're British, so you know the style's different.
Yeah. Okay. This just in.
That's what I said.
This just in. Greasy hair is in Britain.
That is
Wow.
not what I said.
I mean, it kind of is. Have you seen Alex Turner?
Is Alex Turner British?
That's
Aren't the
Yeah.
Arctic Monkeys British? Yeah.
like the most British band you can get.
They
like,
literally like have like fucking like the Union Jack on everything.
their accents are so British. They don't even try to hide it.
I've never seen them talk. I've heard them once at a
Proper
party.
Sheffield accents, like just really. Like on the early records, it's kind of like with like the Libertines. Like
Yeah.
it's the point where it's just like, oh my god. I mean, I love the Libertines. Well, their first
I
album.
like the Libertines.
I'm excited for the new
Isn't
album.
there? Yeah, there's a
Anyway,
new one dropping.
Yeah, it's next month. It's coming.
Yeah.
Been out.
Might review
I,
it.
I there was this band in there's my like high school band at my school or whatever, and then like they moved to Portland to try to make it, but then one of them, I don't know, something crazy happened, and then they failed, and I would play the song "What Became of the Likely Lads" by the Libertines all the time and think about them.
That reminds me. I met a dude in a local band that I like delivering me pizza.
Awesome.
I just think I don't know why. I just keep thinking about that. It's just a funny story because
That's
like
such
out of
a-
all the ways that I would
that's
meet
such a-
this person,
A common paradigm, though. Playing a
It
local
is.
delivered pizza. It's very
Yeah.
common. I've
Well,
seen
it is. I imagine it
like-
is.
I wouldn't mind like delivering pizza. It seems like a pretty lax thing. You just drive around, listen to music, and give people.
I don't know.
I don't know,
As long
man.
as
No,
they
I don't
pay,
know.
I just
guess.
hear
I know
that it's
some
really
areas-
dangerous.
I have some areas in Toronto. I know some areas in Toronto. Nah.
Yeah, and I also
No.
hate driving in Los Angeles. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm gonna die every time I do
I drove
it.
in Los Angeles. I didn't like that.
You
I
get
know.
used to it, and it's
I was like, this is a hellscape, is what it is.
running
Mhm.
through the six with Domino's.
Yeah,
You know how
man.
that shit goes.
gonna
Although
hang up
Domino's
the
in
call.
Toronto is shit.
Domino's
Domino's-
everywhere is shit.
No.
Hey,
I
No, no,
love
no.
Domino's.
No.
Domino's in America is better. I'll
No.
tell you
Love
this.
Domino's.
No,
Right
Domino's
now.
everywhere is shit.
I love.
You don't have the
Domino's.
perspective. You don't know what it's like over here. You think Domino's is tragic in America? Jeez.
Okay, just because
Danny
it's
live
worse-
in Canada?
No,
Did you?
No, I never
Oh.
lived in. I lived in California for a little bit. I never lived in
I
Canada.
always did you live in like Michigan or something?
No,
That sounds like a terrible.
Didn't you live in the Midwest somewhere?
I lived in Kansas and Arkansas.
Okay,
Oh,
that's where that came from.
Oh.
I'm so sorry, but yeah.
No,
That's
yeah,
rough.
it's okay.
I can't speak
Are
to
you
Kansas
okay
too
now?
much, but anywhere in Arizona is.
Arizona's the worst. I lived there for 2 years.
Arizona's got a really nice music
Oregon.
scene, though.
Yeah.
At least they have that going for them.
Yes, they do. That is true.
Phoenix is a nice city.
Yeah. I should have seen more local shit when I'm there. But I have a friend who might guest on an episode who lives in Phoenix, and he goes to all the local stuff.
Yeah, I know I would, man. Phoenix has a really, really good music scene, which is kind of surprising
Hmm
because, like, it's
Isn't it?
Phoenix, Arizona. Like, it's
Yeah.
kind of it's like in the middle of the Mojave or whatever. Like, there are
Below the
there are
Mojave.
rad scorpions out there and shit. Like, why on
That
earth?
sucks.
Could you imagine
Fucking
like
sucks so much,
performing
man.
live and just like scorpions just appear? Like,
A
not the band.
scorpion got into my dorm building on the 14th floor. Crawled up the side and got in.
I'm just glad the scorpions aren't a thing I have to deal with.
I'm glad.
I
live
have like
this for- I don't know.
rattlesnakes and like
I don't have time for
gators.
God,
Just
fuck,
like-
fuck any kind of snake.
Yeah, like there's snakes and they're like not even being cool and they're like in your shit. Like I don't. No,
Yeah,
I don't
like,
want that.
like desert snakes are pretty bad. Like living in Arkansas, there were snakes everywhere, but like
All right, I'm
they
going
never
there.
really bothered you. The only ones that would bother you were these wild snakes called water moccasins.
Wild
Oh,
snake.
water
And
water moccasins. They can go die.
The water
Wait,
moccasins
that's-
are they're the wasps of like the snake.
Wait, they can
universe.
fly, can't
Essentially.
they?
No,
Or something?
they can swim and they swim really fucking fast. They like swim.
Yeah,
over-
they
or
do.
is it? Or that another? I'm thinking of another snake where it turns into like a boomerang, and it can just fly, essentially from tree to tree. That's terrifying.
That might be a boomerang moccasin.
In my
That's-
hometown of Jackson, Wyoming, we have these things called hobo spiders.
Jackson, Wyoming.
Yeah.
What a hometown. I would never get.
Yeah, we have these things called hobo spiders. And
What are they
they
about?
live in the ground and they burrow and they like hide.
Why?
And if one of them bites you and you don't catch it, this like massive cyst grows and it can like eat away at your skin and kill you.
Why do I come here? I don't
Yeah.
understand.
We have these. We have brown recluses in Arkansas.
Yeah, those as well
Oh,
are in
yeah.
Jackson.
Yeah, and they bite you and your skin, like have you guys heard of
Deteriorate.
crocodile?
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of has the same effect. Your skin like gets holes in it and like starts deteriorating and shit.
All right. Anyway, who's next? Danny.
Yeah,
How was your
I was
week?
talking briefly about the wasps, and I got an email recently. I ordered the monitor from Titus Andronicus on vinyl because one, Patrick Stickles was going through a hard time on Twitter, and I really needed to support that band, and so I thought, what better way than to purchase an album on vinyl?
Yeah.
And also, that's my favorite album of all time. It's a very, very close album to me, and I really appreciate it, and I think the music on it's really good too. So, overall, it was just kind of like something that would eventually happen, and, you know, it happens. And they said it would take about 4 to 6 weeks because Titus Andronicus, the band, is what, like, handles that. Like, they don't have, like...
Oh wow.
Yeah, they don't have, like, people to do that for them. They do it. And,
Wow.
At
it's
least
a-
for those albums.
yeah, and so it's a signed copy. Every member in the band signs it, I believe. Maybe
awesome.
Patrick just signs it. Who knows? But it was really great. It was. I got it like the day before I went to Death Grips, and I was really excited for it. And about 2 days ago, they said it would take about 4 to 6 weeks, but about 2 days ago, or not 2 days, about 8 days ago, I got an email saying it finally shipped.
Gee.
So every day at noon, I have been feeling that please let me just open up my front door and see that record sitting there. Anticipation that comes with purchasing a vinyl online. And
Yeah.
it
Mhm.
has been driving me fucking insane because I found out today because I decided to finally check the shipping because I thought the tracking was like messing up. But it turns
Sure.
out they haven't even shipped the fucking thing yet. The email
Oh.
just jumped the gun. So
Aw.
Oh.
I don't know how I'm gonna like survive like the next 10 days because my anxiety is already at an all-time high for this fucking album. Like I just want it.
Right.
So yeah. Other than
I will
that,
say.
other than seeing Death Grips, I've been kind of hanging out with a lot of friends and trying to work
That's
on some
nice.
music because I have a band now, which is fun.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, and
Yay!
we've been we don't know really what type of music we're going to make.
Okay, that answered the question.
Yeah,
I was
we
like, what type of?
yeah we all were just like one of the things I said was like I don't want to go in here with like an idea of what we're gonna make. I just kind of want to make something, and whatever we make, that's what we're gonna do. You know, like so it's probably gonna be experimental of some sort, but it's not gonna be like too experimental because these guys aren't as weird as me. So I was the stuff that we've been writing sounds a lot like noise rock. Like it sounds like Big Black and the ILYs and that sort of genre. Just lots of fuzzed out guitars and repetitive like we're kind of like just going for like kind of an art punk vibe, I guess. So that's if that answers your question. Some of the stuff we've been writing, but other than that, and seeing Death Grips, not much. So yeah, it was a pretty fun time.
I know how it feels to be anticipating something coming in the mail because I ordered a pair of Adidas Originals online and they arrived when I was at Comic-Con. And so I came home and I'm like expecting it to be on my doorstep and they weren't there. And I asked all my neighbors and none of them knew about it. So someone stole them from me,
Oh,
which is
yikes.
pretty sad.
That's also one of my greatest fears, because, you know, they just kind of leave the package there, and the neighborhood I
Yeah.
live in isn't
That's the thing.
great, and, like, what the fuck is somebody gonna do with a signed Titus Andronicus record? Like,
What is someone gonna do with a pair of my
Listen to it.
Adidas?
That's weird though. Like, cause here, like Canada Post, or whoever, they usually just like they knock or they ring the doorbell, like, oh, no one's here, and then they leave a fucking thing like, we were here, and you can come pick it up here. That's what happens here.
They
Oh,
do.
they do that sometimes.
yeah.
They do that all the time here. Although, I was gonna say before earlier, talking about anticipating something, I was like, cause Chance's new thing, like Chance the Rapper's new thing, like it's not, you can't pay for the album. Like, fuck, well, I want them to have money somehow, so I ordered this poster. First of all, the poster cost me like $25 because shipping and handling, and also the Canadian dollar is shit. So I'm like, where the fuck is this poster? And it's been like 3 days since they said they sent it, and I just realized there's this cylinder that's been near the couch for like 2 days that I didn't really notice.
Oh
I
my
thought it was
God.
a room at first. I'm like, when the fuck did this get here? And I started yelling at my brother, like, oh, I don't know. I thought you saw it. I'm like, why wouldn't you just tell me?
Nice.
So,
Worst
Oh.
brother
no.
ever.
Oh, I could tell you stories.
yeah.
I'm sure.
Oh, man.
Take
Hey,
your
that's cool,
word.
Danny.
Yeah,
That you're starting.
I'm really excited. I work a lot better like musically with people than I do by myself because I have, you know, kind of that syndrome where I don't have like a quality like filter. So
Sure.
whatever I make, if it sounds like shit, I have to have somebody tell me that it sounds like shit, or else I just keep working on it and keep working on it. And
I'm like the opposite, I guess. Or I do almost everything alone. Like I'm good at doing things myself. So if I'm
Right.
mixing something or like just I think now I'm generally getting a sound that I feel is what I want.
Sure.
Like it's a good enough nexus of things that I like and I'm heavily influenced by, to the point where I'm like, okay, that this sounds like a thing that is what I'm being very vague right now. Like, I'll listen to some of the, cause I think actually it would probably help if you guys just sat down and listened to like a bunch of records you liked.
yeah,
Like Danny, the thing, and just sat down like, oh, all right, what records do you want to bring in? And I don't know, 'cause that's what I did for a while.
yeah. And when we hang out, that's kind of what we just usually like do. Like we just listen to music because I live in a really shitty town where there's not much to do, and so you either listen to
Get out
music,
of
play
this
video
town.
games, or go to the park. And you know, we're getting kind of tired of the park and video games, so we've been just listening to music a lot. And yeah, that has been helping. A lot of the times, I'm a real big fan of like jam sessions. A lot of my favorite bands do like Animal Collective and Mars Volta. When they play live, they'll extend songs like by like 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Just do whatever the fuck they want, you know. And so I've always like kind of enjoyed that aspect of music, that whole improvise, just play what you're kind of feeling, as stupid as that sounds. And so we do that a lot too, and it always up coming out like fun. So that's been helping. Yeah, listening to records with friends, if you're like in a band with them, is a really good inspiration.
Nice.
Yeah. These past 10 minutes have been like way too serious for us.
I know.
we usually
like
don't
going
get
hard.
this deep. But we're about to get deep into some records, aren't we? And that's
On to the chopping block.
And that's a segue.
We're gonna
Which one
dive
you
in.
want first?
Dive right in. So, last episode was primarily E3. We didn't review any, and due to scheduling conflicts, the ones we had an episode where we were going to review, but that one got scrapped, and the audio got corrupted, and it was a big mess. So some of these albums are a little bit older, and we're not going to go into depth in all of them. We're just going to kind of give our general ideas. We do have two main records we're going to focus on this week, but we're going to start off with kind of this catch-up, if you will. So here begins the record Review-A-Thon. Jamie XX in colors.
It's so good. I'm going first.
I feel like
I'm going first.
Oh, okay.
Snatched.
Okay.
Ooh, robbed.
No, I'm just kidding. You can go first if you want to.
Oh. I
Toss
guess it's
right
kind of
back.
like a meme, basically, in our group chat. I'm like, hey guys, you should listen to this record. It's really good. And so then I went on for a couple of days, and then a couple more days, and then like a week or so, and then Danny's like, this is really good. I'm like, well, we could have done this a while ago.
Yeah.
And then eventually just got around to everyone, and I'm like, oh, but I'm kind of talked on things to say. I've been talking about it for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But like, no, I'm really glad everyone heard it, because I think that's a really great record. Like Jamie XX, formerly of the XX, or not necessarily formerly, I think he's just doing his own thing right now. Not sure if they're gonna have a third album. That second album, Coexist, was a long time ago now.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on there, and I don't really care.
Yep, same.
Because this is better than anything else
Yeah.
the XX ever did.
Yeah,
Although,
absolutely.
Seriously.
like, I liked the first XX record way back when it came out. Like an interesting sort of.
I like the song
down-tempo
intro.
Almost like minimal shoegaze on that first record. But Jamie X has been kicking around doing a bunch of, when you get into like those electronic people, like producers, where it just seems like they're endlessly doing remixes for people,
Yeah, like
forever.
Yeah, like Diplo. And...
Yeah, but Diplo sucks, so that's the only difference here.
What?
Honestly, I don't want to talk about Diplo. I don't want to do anything that do with that man, that rancid pastry of a man. But we're talking about Jamie XX. Yeah, so he was doing a bunch of BBC stuff, and he did something with Gil Scott Heroin, which is pretty good. And so he released this kind of weird, minimal, like almost two-dimensional. Like, it's when I think about In Color, it's a very svelte album. Like everything seems to tuck in really neat ways.
Mm-hmm.
Even from like the intro, it starts off with this, hardcore, like 90s or 2000s UK shuffle, like it's really old school UK electronics and stuff, even down to the samples they use. So that's interesting. And the whole album is slowly like changing into different like dances, like form of dance in like the British scene and stuff. So you have there's some dance hall, and being the thing with Young Thug, which is a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's interesting. And you have just, I think the mood it can create, this odd, color. When I think about In Color, the image of the album, I always think the album art is really important to how you feel about an album, because it focuses like imagery and thoughts you have about certain songs. And there's like generally this sort of prism of colors with this album that because it's so neat, and it just transitions from the song to song, like in this sort of minimal way, minimal and very modular way, but like things are getting folded into every song, and they're elaborating in very consistent and very well-paced ways, that it becomes more of an album about feelings than it is about something more concrete like the XX would do. And so it's become like my go-to night album. Like when I'm driving, I'm like, all right, it's 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Put my phone.
It's time
put this
to night drive to some Jamie XX.
Yeah, change the mood. And I think some of my friends are getting tired of it, but they can go fuck themselves. This is what we listen to now at night when I'm driving. So, I really do think as a debut is extremely strong. Like it seemed like when I wrote a review for 90 Meg, I'm like, it seemed like the album that this guy was like scheming to make. Like he'd go work with the XX, like, yeah, man, I'll see you guys later. And he'd go to his kitchen and then he'd open up his cupboard and he'd put on this like corkboard.
Yeah.
All these things like, okay, this is how I get to this album. It's been doing that for like 7 years.
Yeah.
It definitely does seem like there are ideas that were kind of from the XX here, but they're just done in a way that feels like, all right. I mean, I was watering it down for you guys, but now this is entirely my vision, so I can do things the way I want.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And there's definitely like an auteur vibe about it. Like this is him. So this is the dude that's been lurking around and on these SX albums, and I really like that.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. The auteur vibe. I really like that.
Yeah. Who am I gonna pass this mic to?
I really liked it as well. I'm gonna be shorter because we gotta get through these ones. But yeah, I knew I was sitting on it because everybody had been just talking and raving, and then I listened to it finally, and it's just so smooth and it's so like, effortless to listen to. It was over in like a second for me, and so I was like, well, I guess it's time to listen to that again. And that's how the cycle began.
That's a good way to put it. That's another thing. Effortless. There's definitely like it's so easy. Ironically, on the first record, the first track, part of the vocal sound was like easy. I'm like, that's not just coincidental, ironic, because it really does sound like just shit in my sleep.
Yep.
Like he has mastered doing things the way he wants to do in such a way as like, fuck it, let's go to the studio and do it.
Yep.
Bang it out. All right, done. It comes out like this.
We did it. It's good. Is the short answer. Who's next?
Danny, it sounds like you.
Okay. It's really, first of all, it's really ironic to me that you guys are saying that this is effortless. This is an effortless listens, because it is. And there was another record that we chose to review that week called Frozen Niagara Falls by the Prurient, which we'll get into later, which is not effortless at all.
No.
And they're both electronic albums, and so I just thought that was kind of funny. Didn't even do that on purpose. But anyways, this record really surprised me. I'm not a fan of the XX. Coexist was actually one of the first CDs after I started getting back into CD collecting that I bought because I really liked the album art and I wanted something new to listen to. And this was before I was into Mew and like, you know, the internet recommending you artists. This was just, I'd go to FYE, I'd see albums that I liked their art, and I'd get them. Got Coexist, and I just hated everything that I was hearing. Like, it was the biggest nothing to me that I could literally have just been like, I'm not going to talk that in-depth about Coexist, but long story short, I didn't like it. So whenever Chewy started recommending this Jamie XX album, I was kind of rolling my eyes. I was like, oh great, we got some more fucking lazy-ass, generic dream pop. Could not have been more wrong, and I'm really glad that I was wrong, because I was very pleasantly surprised with this album. Really surprised you guys weren't talking about Loud Places, but I feel like everybody's been talking about Loud Places.
Oh my god, it's so
There's
good.
no need to
I have it
talk
on
about Loud
freaking repeat.
There's no need to talk about Loud Places. That is probably one of my favorite songs of this year. Really fucking love that song. Jamie XX made Young Thug listenable, so that should tell you something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Overall, yeah, I gotta say, Chewy was saying a lot of very, very insightful things about this album that actually hadn't even occurred to me. So fucking props to you for that.
Yep.
What I do?
Because this, well, like how the album art coincides with it, and how it's an auteur vibe, and all that shit you were saying, I was really feeling. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but Jamie Smith did the artwork for it as well. He
nice.
So I like it when artists do their own art. But anyways,
It's really hard.
yeah,
Like,
it is
it's
ridiculously hard. I
wish I could do my own art.
I tried to do that
Because
for
like
a
no
while.
one. Yeah, actually, I did do my own art one point in time where I did probably like something like a third EP or fourth EP. It was just a scribble.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, it was just a scribble.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is how I feel about this. Scribble and paint. All right.
Brian Wilson's also like on this. Fun fact. So yeah,
Yeah, he is.
Brian Wilson?
Yeah, he's on
He
Girl.
is?
He's
Yeah.
one of the writers.
Oh.
But
Oh, huh.
anyways,
I have the disc right here. I'm gonna look that up.
yeah, he this album is just honestly, as far as British electronic music goes, this is definitely a masterpiece in my opinion.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it's really, really good.
I can't say anything bad about it really. Like I really just can't even think of any flaws. Um, if you like it, if you like this type of music, you're going to love this album, and if you don't like this type of music, you're still gonna like this album. Like, there's no
Basically.
yeah, cause I'm not
It's so smooth you can't like not enjoy it.
like I'm not that into like British electronic music. It's not really my scene, never has been. I like AFX Twin and like Burial and shit like that, but everybody likes those. So like this album really just it's a wonderful album to play at night, like Chewy said. Really great summer album, really digging the vibes on it. So yeah, I mean I fucking loved it.
It's a nice record.
Robo?
All right, time for me to step up to this plate. And this was an album that I kind of stayed away from it mostly because, for no real reason, because, you know, because I knew it was going to be different from the XX. I've listened to the XX and I thought that intro song was pretty cool, but everything else I was like, okay, I can just listen to intro and whatever. I can listen to this 1 or 2 minute track and get more out of it than the rest of this. But anyways, I was like, okay, what is this Jamie XX? Well, actually, for a while, I didn't know that it was even the dude. I thought it was just coincidence. But anyways.
Right.
Anyways, I was like, all right, what's this man up to? What's he doing? And I'm digging what he's doing here. Like, you know, everyone else has said, Loud Places. I was going to bring up Loud Places, but whatever. One of the best songs of the year, of course.
Yeah,
I really... The Young Thug track was really interesting. One of the moments in this album that really sticks out to me the most is Gosh, the first album, because not album, song, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that at first I'm not really. It's one of the fastest transitions in a song where I've gone from I really don't care for this to I really love it.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning I'm not really whatever the samples, you know, I'm not really into it. Whenever what are those dog barking samples
Sure.
come in?
Yeah,
you know,
that is what it
okay.
is.
I'm
Hey, man,
feeling
it worked
it.
on Yeezus. Work anywhere.
True. Whenever those come in, I was like, okay, this is cooler. And then whenever the synths come in, I'm like, all right, I'm getting chills. I'm loving this. This is the greatest thing.
The slow build too.
That's.
I don't want to interrupt you, but like, cause
Go
I don't
for
want
it.
this like to go away, in terms of the tendril here. But yeah, like when Matt is saying the slow build, I think a good song for that, I think in Microcosm is a good example of this album is The Rest Is Noise.
Yeah.
That's a shorter song, and there's not really any vocal samples on it, but the way that song builds so much in like I think like 3 minutes, and the way it transitions from certain like elements is very much like if you go on the site for Young Turks, where like the label it came from, I went on it like random the other day. There's like you log in, the cover, which is it's like a prism of colors. It'll dial around like in this weird hypnotic fashion, and it's like the more I thought about that song, the more it's like this weird sort of blend of colors, like elements constantly like just swishing into each other, like really like almost creamy. I think that's a good word for it.
Yeah,
Just really so smooth. Like I really like adding elements without them being disruptive is a skill, because some people just do it like, oh, that's an aesthetic. Or
Yeah.
in my opinion, I'm not sure if that's totally applicable to everyone, but the idea is to know when to pace your elements and to know, oh, okay, let's add something else into the mix. Okay, let's bring back an element. Let's make a callback, an audio callback. I think The Rest Is Noise is a really just extremely well designed song.
Yeah.
Like all the angles are measured as like, okay, it's gonna come in here, that's gonna come in here, it's gonna build to this, it's gonna fizzle here, and it's gonna build all back again. Like it's really
it's
really
like
masterful.
it's like
almost.
putting a puzzle together.
Yes, very much so.
Okay.
Good one.
Well, you know, that's basically our.
Oh wait, hold on.
Oh wait, you have something to say?
Hold up.
Yeah.
Because I'm just gonna finish off my thoughts real quick.
Sorry about that.
It's cool. It's cool. Well, the only thing I really had left to say was just, you know, Everything was pretty good. Everything was pretty great. Some moments, not too much. The only song I didn't really like that much was "Stranger in a Room."
I
besides
love
Yeah.
that track.
I
like
love that
Stranger in a Room.
song. I did, but like, I kind of liked it less the more I heard it. I still think it's a very good song, but yeah, like, I don't know.
I dig
Whatever.
It's not bad, but it's definitely my least favorite.
Actually, it might be worth mentioning just a little note. Like, the other two members from the XX are on the album.
Are they
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, in Loud Places and in Stranger in a Room, they are the vocalists on those tracks.
And Seesaw.
Yeah, oh, that's also good.
So overall, RJ, what are you feeling on this album?
I'm feeling. I'm thinking a 7. I'm feeling a pretty good 7 on this.
Chewy, what about you?
9.2.
Ooh,
Yeah,
Alright.
I really really love this record.
saucy.
I'll give it a 9.5. I like
Hey.
it more.
Wow.
I really
More than
like
me.
it. I listen to it every night when I'm coming home from work.
Here I am looking like the negative Nancy.
I feel
Yeah.
so good when I like drive around the bend. I'm going down from the observatory and I see the lights of LA and there's
Oh,
just
man.
like these
Ooh.
fucking nice ass synths in my area. It's so good.
Yeah, and I gotta kind of go with Maddie and Chewy here. I'm feeling a 9.0 on this album. I really liked it. I was really pleasantly surprised. And with that, we're moving from smooth synths into harsh frozen waters with the Prurient's
Ooh, boy.
album Frozen Niagara Falls. Now, I have a feeling, and this is just a feeling, that RJ and I are probably going to have the most to say about this.
Well,
So,
I don't really even have too much about it myself. But
okay,
we'll,
fair enough.
We'll talk a little bit. Let's
Andy,
take
you
some
should
notes.
lead.
Okay.
You're the most.
So, if you guys remember from last episode, I said Frozen Niagara Falls is probably one of my favorite albums of the year. Starting
man.
off, it was not. It it was something that I knew I was like expecting. Like RJ and I kind of mentioned it in the chat, like very briefly, just on and off. We talked about it a little. He
Yeah.
asked me what I thought about it one day, and I was like, well, I haven't heard it, but I saw Fantano review it. And it sounded like it would be up my alley for the most part. And so I thought, hell, it'd be really fun just to review this because it's something absolutely that I feel like Chewy and Maddie would not touch, like, if not forced to review it. Because For
You're
those-
not wrong.
For those of you who
There
don't
is
know,
truth here.
Frozen Niagara Falls by the Prurient.
It's not the Prurient. It's Prurient.
Oh, Prurient.
Prurient.
Dominic. He this is a power electronics noise industrial album. It's hard. It's hard shit. And so I'm a big fan of really hard shit, and going into this album it was too heavy for me. I actually got severe, and I'm gonna get made fun of for this, I'm sure, but this album actually gave me very severe anxiety.
That's not weird at all, because it gave me anxiety, and I
Kinda
don't.
with me in The Witcher. I got too much anxiety with thinking if I could play it ever again.
Yeah, this
It's too
album
much.
freaked me the fuck out. It the first time I heard it, it is a double album and it's long. It's a very long album.
It is.
Uh-huh.
Sitting through the entire thing was like it was almost like a BDSM session. Like it was
Oh God.
absolutely just it was like I felt like I was a masochist just submitting myself to audio torture.
Yep.
And so the first time I finished it, I was like, oh Christ, there's something there, and I'm gonna fucking crack it. And so
Crack
after-
the frozen
Yeah.
waterfall.
yeah, after about, I want to say I've given this album 17 or 18 listens.
Holy fuck.
Boy.
Oh, when I was first getting into
Oh,
Swans,
oh.
I listened to Filth a good 30 times before it clicked. So this was kind of close to that. It felt like that, and that was something that I haven't had in a while, ever since like To Be Kind came out. So
Mhm.
this album, to me, I'm really fucking glad it exists. I mean, I absolutely, one of my favorite things about this album, the thing that stands out the most to me, is the vocals. I
Mhm.
fucking love the vocals on this album. They're horrifying. It sounds like you're listening to a demon. And it goes from like, like these black metal-esque vocals to like whispers, and like it sounds like the mind of a Silent Hill creature. Like, it is such a
No.
wonderfully horrifying album, and anything that scares me as much as this album did, is something to me. I really, really enjoyed it. If you can say the word enjoy. And now if I want something heavy, I'll go between this and like a Nails album, and I'm really, really just feeling it. I like this album a lot.
Wow.
All right, who wants to go next?
I'll go ahead and take in my dip in this album. I gave this album a pretty good bit of listens myself for this album at least. I gave it, I think, at least 3 to 5, but I started it like 10 or like 10 to 15 times. I started
it's
it.
a long album.
But it just eventually trailed off, and I just started listening to something else. But this album, I listened to it because I wanted to dig back into it because it's like there are things that I feel like I like the noise. I really dig the noise, but like stuff when it comes like how the synth sounds or how that goes, it's just one thing. The thing that comes to my mind is like Mass Effect menu music.
Oh,
and I don't really dig that much.
See, I was getting more of like a slasher flick vibe from like the synths.
That is good. That's a good comparison to do. Maybe I would have liked it more if I thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I kind of agree with RJ. Yeah, and from what I recall, it did sound very sci-fi-ish.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
sounds like
Yes, absolutely.
It reminded me a lot of like This album itself, the atmosphere reminded me of John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah.
It sounds frozen. It sounds like there's a shapeshifter amongst you, and you're paranoid, and you're anxious, and you're just hoping that you don't die next. And I really enjoy that atmosphere. But anyways, RJ, continue.
But yeah, the vocals are really nice, but I really wanted to find the lyrics, which I couldn't find anywhere because I was like, maybe I'll get something out of there, but I could never find the lyrics. And eventually it just trailed off for me. But it's good, but it's a pretty good album, but it's not something that I want to revisit too often.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand that completely.
But those are my thoughts on it.
All right, it's me time.
Oh, thank God.
I don't listen to too much. I don't listen to too much harsh noise or industrial. I don't know if I see the appeal, but I understand that people are interested in new creative avenues, so I understand that. However, going into this album, I listened to it 1.5 times.
Oh dear.
But I didn't hate it. I didn't hate listening to it. It gave me anxiety, and it gave me nightmares actually.
Oh.
I listened to it in the day, and then I went to sleep the next night, and I was kind of tweaking.
Yeah.
But so I don't know if I enjoyed that sensation very much, but it's compelling that an album made me do that. That's interesting and different, but I thought it was he blended the style, because it's not just straight harsh noise, it's got some other things going on. It has some other instrumentation. He does weird singing over it that is really interesting, actually. So I thought it was kind of, like I said, it is compelling to listen to if you can deal with it, but if you can't, then don't, because it's not for you. And I can't say that I will listen to it more, because that's just not what I like doing to myself. But don't take that as me disliking it, because I can see the artistry in it and what he's doing, and it worked.
it's like a horror film. Like
Yeah.
it's like it reminds me, like I said, of the thing. It's got the soundtrack the sounds remind me of like the Shining soundtrack. Like it's got a big horror film vibe to it. If you like horror films, honestly, give this album a
Yeah.
shot.
I mean, yeah, but like if you don't, then don't.
Yeah, really, do not.
So, yeah, it's interesting. And it is really scary. So, if you like nightmares, do that to yourself. Or if you're super hardcore, then
Or both.
it won't even matter.
Yeah.
Why not both?
So, it was different. It was too long, though.
It was
I
very
will
long.
say that is my actual legitimate criticism, is that it is too long. Could cut down a little bit on some of the fluffier noise.
Fluffy.
Fluffy.
That's one word.
Fluffy
That's
noise.
a word.
Cut down some of that barbed wire. Cut it down a bit.
Yeah.
You could dull it a little bit.
Take a nail file to it and just, But yeah, so it was interesting.
All right. Chewy, do you have anything to say?
I'll keep it very, very short.
Okay.
Like around 6 years ago, I decided I would try everything in music. Like give everything a shot. And that led to a lot of things, a lot of my favorite bands now. Like where I was 6 years ago. Like I'm a completely different person when it comes to music. I'm like, you know what? Let me try this. I mean, I do like noise rock. I do like the idea of like noisy textures and stuff, but I feel like a smart person understands when something just isn't for them, or they understand when to concede to something.
Yeah, that's
That's what I thought about this song. I heard it I started it so many times, I think I got to the end. Like, I think.
I don't
bounced
remember
off
because you were
me-
just in a haze.
Yeah, it bounced off me completely. It was kind of like eating a frozen turkey, just biting right into it, like fucking up your teeth. Like, I couldn't with this album. I'm like, this is, you know what? I'm just gonna abstain from viewing this album too much. This is just not for me, like in any way. So that's kind of it for me.
All right.
That's
Well,
okay.
So I guess very briefly, I'll give it my score. If and by the way, for those of you, Maddie, Chewy, RJ, any of you really, if you don't feel like you have the want, you can abstain from giving this a score. I'm feeling a 9 on it personally. I really liked it. RJ, what are you feeling on it?
I'm feeling a little 7. I'm feeling a little 7 on this one.
All right. Chewy, you're abstaining.
Yes.
All right. Maddie.
I think I'll abstain only
Okay.
because to me, I mean, I do like it and I appreciate the artistry, but I feel like I'm not informed enough in the genre to give a numerical score.
Well,
That makes sense.
smoothing things down a bit, we're gonna get into one of our. I know it seems like Jamie XX was kind of a focus album, but it wasn't supposed to be. There were some good things said though. There was some really good shit there. So hopefully our.
That's a big
listeners like
catch-up
that.
though.
Yeah. Going into a smoother listen. Tame Impala dropped Currents recently, which is an album that has been pretty polarizing, and whoever wants to talk about that can just take it away.
Anyone? I will. If anyone.
I'll grab it up.
Okay.
All right.
Do
I'll
it.
grab the ball. I'll start off with my Tame Impala story here. I've never listened to Tame Impala before. There's so many things on this podcast that I've just never listened to before. It just feels like I've never listened to anything. I've never listened to Tame Impala. Mostly, I just avoided them. I figured I'd get them to eventually, but anyways, they're mostly just one of those bands that I thought they were just. I thought they were just one of those like radio indie bands, and they were just pretty okay. And their album cover for Lonerism looked like it had like an Instagram filter on it, so I was like, that kind of doesn't help that image.
It actually did.
It did?
Yeah.
Well, all right. Anyways.
That's that. That's the end of the
That's that.
review.
There we go. And then and then eventually I picked up a single to this album here, and I was like, okay, this is pretty good. I will listen to this when it comes out, and here we are. And I listened to it, and I thought, no, it's pretty alright. It's pretty good. I feel like it was a little too long for me. You know, I feel like this is just an aesthetic that
I
I'm not
agree.
too into. Like there are some really strong moments, like Let It Happen, Nangs. I really like Nangs. Like even though it was a little short track, I really liked it. But the best song that outshines everything on this album is Eventually. Eventually. It just grooves, and I love. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the words here, but just I love how like the verses go, and it goes along with the drum beat, and how it's a great song. Okay, but then after that it kind of trails off, and there's not that much that I'm into besides the disciples. And after that, it's just stuff that's just pretty alright. Until New Personal Mistakes, pretty good song. I looked into the lyrics just because I thought maybe there's something that I'm into here. Not too much that not bad, not good, or I'm not gonna say not good, but not something I'm too interested in. I thought, what was the song that had like
The spoken word.
the vocals were pitched down and it was just talking?
Past life.
Oh, Past Lives.
Past Life.
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting idea.
I kinda like
Execution
that
is
track.
pretty alright. I thought that was pretty
Yeah,
interesting.
I like the noise that happens like right after that.
Yeah.
Spoken, like ooh.
Yeah,
it
me
hit out of
too. I
nowhere, and
like
I was like,
the-
ooh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I like the noise parts in that. Everything sounded really smooth. Like if I had to give this album a shape, it would be a spear. On the album, it would be a spear. A very nice, very smooth. A spear like made in one of those computer programs. I forget what they're called. Whatever. You make one of those, and it's a really smooth album, and it's not something that I would pick up too much on in full. Like I would listen to some of the songs, like Eventually, Let It Happen, Things. But it's not something I'd revisit to in full. But it's not bad, but it's not too great to me. And that's mostly what I think about it.
All right.
All right.
Also, one more thing. I'm not too big on this man's voice.
Oh ho ho, yes, I agree with that.
But
I agree with
that's
that.
my main thing.
I'd like to take the mic if possible.
Go for it.
So, I'm much like RJ. I had never listened to Tame Impala because I'm a very stubborn person, and that's a pretty negative trait, and especially when it comes to music. So, when it comes to like psychedelic revivalist bands, my personal choice was MGMT. Like,
Okay.
Congratulations is one of my favorite albums of all time. And I hear Tame Impala get tossed in with them a lot. I heard like one Tame Impala song, and I was like, oh, so they're basically an MGMT ripoff band. And that was a couple of years
I
ago.
don't agree with
no,
that.
I'm not saying I agree. I'm not saying I agree with that anymore. That was my mindset a couple of years ago.
Okay.
I haven't listened to Lonerism yet. I'm probably going to. But Currents is the first Tame Impala album. So like I said, I hear them get lumped in with psychedelic a lot. And I gotta say, this album, I don't see. There are a couple psychedelic tracks that are sort of psychedelic, like Disciples and Gossip. The shorter songs, the little interlude tracks, are very psychedelic.
Mhm.
They have swirling synths. They have that whole atmosphere going on. But
Mhm.
the actual songs, in my opinion, and this is not a criticism, sound like 80s pop ballads.
Yeah,
They're really 80s.
It does sound very 80s.
I have something on that, but yes.
It sounds to me, and I said this, and I'm sticking by it, it sounds like Vaporwave. And there's even trap
can hear that.
hi-hats on a song. There's even trap hi-hats on a song.
What song?
I wrote it down in my notes. I'd have to pull it up. I think it's on Love Paranoia. It's either that or The Less I Know,
okay.
The Better. It's one of those tracks that has fucking trap hi-hats. And as soon as I heard it, I wrote it down, and I was like, yeah.
Nope. Important note. Trap
Oh,
hi-hats.
Okay, I know what that. I know
Trap
that.
influenced
I
beats.
think it is Love Paranoia. I don't think that's quite trap.
Oh,
Because most
no,
of
that
the
was
stuff
definitely,
is,
that was,
is live.
those rhythms are trap. It was doing the ta-ta-ta, tra-ta-ta-ta, like that trap, like
That's the Paranoia.
yeah. It might have been a different song. The first time I listened to this album, I accidentally had a fucking thing on shuffle, and I was writing notes, so I had to go back and like match the notes up with what songs I was hearing. But
Shit.
yeah, other than that, my biggest criticism about this album, my biggest one, the vocals. I cannot get past this man's vocals. I've never been that big of a fan of falsetto. Like, I like campy falsetto and like Rush and like that sort of shit, but I do not like slow ballad like falsetto, and it is all over this album. It is drenched in it.
There's some moments where it's okay for me, but
I really liked Past Life. I thought the spoken word was really cool. I love the noise on that. And I'm just throwing this out there. Eventually, sounds like something that would have been on that Toro Imoa album. That guitar reminds me like immediately of that debut of the first track on that album, because they both.
Because I was thinking about that album when I was listening to it.
I was too. I was thinking this sounds a lot like, not. Okay, let me rephrase. The songwriting is very in essence with what that Toro Imoa album was doing, which is the 70s, 80s, that pop. Except Toro Imoa tackled it in a more conventional way than this album did. One of the heights for this album for me definitely is the way the percussion's mastered. The percussion on this album is fucking sick. It's really good.
It's really nice.
Really, really, really well produced. Really well mixed. Fucking perfect. It sits right there, and it's the last time I heard an album with such well mastered percussion was like another album that we're reviewing after this. So like this album, the synths also. One of the biggest changes of this album was it was less guitar and more synth. It was more about the synth on this album, and fuck, you can tell, because the focus on synths in this album is incredible. A lot of the melodies for the synths are great. A lot of the synth sounds are fucking phenomenal. Really, the instrumentation on this album is what shines through the most for me. I did read the lyrics because I can't understand what the fuck he's saying. And the themes were, from what I understood, there is an underweaving theme across this entire album. You could call it a concept album. It doesn't tell a story necessarily, but it does kind of weave together a loose narrative,
Yeah, I mean, not all concept albums have to tell a story.
Yeah. And
from beginning to end.
And it is definitely it's something that I'm vibing with. I like the concept of, do people actually change, is what this album likes to talk about. What causes a person to change if they do change, that sort of thing. And of course, there's a lot of looking back towards the past, not only in the songwriting on this album, but also in the lyricism. The lyricism is about looking back at the person that you were and who you are today, and how that kind of it's almost like a Buddhist message pushed through a psychedelic 80s pop album, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
I will say it, with the complaints that I had about the vocals, aside from that, I have no qualms with this album. At first I was like, well, I'm not dying to revisit this, but then I did revisit it, and I was really, really, it grows on you. It really does. The more I listen to this album, the more I love it, and overall, I understand what people are saying about this record, because there's a lot of praise, there's also a lot of hate. But I've been seeing a lot of praise for this record on like Twitter. A friend of mine said it's an easy 9. And I can understand that this album is good. It was really good, and I liked it.
It was really good, and I liked it.
It's good.
I agree.
I like how you come to that conclusion.
I also liked the record.
Who wants to take the mic from me?
I didn't like it as much as I liked Jamie XX, which is also a very smooth record. They're different, but
They can't all be in color.
But they're both, have that smoothness.
They have synths.
And they have synthesizers.
They have synths too.
Guys.
Maddie, you take it up, actually, because it sounds like you have...
It was good. I don't know. I don't have that much... I've never had that strong of an opinion on Tame Impala. I've listened to all of their records. I have a couple friends who are really into them, and I've always just been like, they're good. I don't listen to them all the time. There's a couple tracks I really like, but like, they've always, especially their record right before this, I can't remember the name of it.
Lonerism.
Yeah. That was kind of a snoozer, in my opinion. But, this one was good, I will say. And I was like, this was the first time in listening to Tame Impala where I've been like, all right, I kind of get this. It felt more inspired than some other Tame Impala records.
Yeah, I feel you.
I feel like he was actually going for something. Like, before, he was just kind of doing whatever. But now I feel like he's actually, whatever his name is, Kevin, what is it?
Kevin Parker.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt like he was actually, he put more effort into this one. Which sounds really mean of me, but I really liked this album. It was smooth. I don't mind his voice. I don't mind the slow falsetto, but I'm into vocalists, I guess. And he's not amazing, but I didn't hate it as much as y'all. Thought it was pretty alright. I don't have a lot to say about this record, to be honest. It was fine. I'm not gonna, it's not on any top 10 list for me. I don't know why everyone's giving it, 9s out of 10s, because I still don't think it's that great. But it's better than any other Tame Impala stuff. So, that's my really short and sort of mean opinion.
Yeah, it's good, I guess.
I'm not huge on it.
Yeah, that's understandable. I mean, I feel the same.
It's good, but I just could get better elsewhere. That's me and but I do like the psychedelic influences, even though it's not as strong as people make it out to be.
There.
But some of the riffing on the synths, I'm like, okay, this is kind of going places, but it doesn't go that far. So, that's me.
It's up to
No.
you.
I don't think it was really pitched as a psychedelic record. But
Yeah, I don't think so
I was
either.
following some of the stuff he was saying.
Some people have been
Yeah,
saying
a lot of
psycho.
people,
I read the
a lot
pitch
of my
for.
friends have been saying.
I
psychedelic.
think some people are
That's
talking
how I know.
shit.
Because it isn't.
But,
This is not a psychedelic album.
I don't. Yeah, it's not. I don't think it. In fact, when I was listening to it, yeah, I mean, I can kind of see where that is like. Oh, it kind of sounds like Tori Moore. I can kind of see insofar as they kind of have similar influences, although I think Currents is more consistent.
Sure.
Insofar as they can, Kevin, he consistently goes to Phil Collins
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. That
And I don't really like
he'll
the
go
That's
there
a
for
very
some
interesting-
of it sounds like weird post Bee Gees.
Yeah, that's a very interesting.
The less I know, the better.
Yeah.
It sounds Bee Gees-ish, which I'm like, what the? That's okay. I like where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like Lonerism a lot. I felt like the first record in their speaker was cool, and so I was like, oh, that's kind of cool, but it didn't really have any standout moments.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, Lonerism kind of feels like some people mentioned it before, where it kind of sounds like Revolver. But in my opinion, Lonerism more or less sounds like he liked Revolver, but he was really fixated on Tomorrow Never Knows. So he's like, you know what? I'm gonna make a whole album that's kind of like Tomorrow Never Knows, and I really like that because then he just throws it into this blend of all these different scenes. Like there's a lot more moments on Lonerism, in my opinion. I think Lonerism is a better record than this record, but I still like Currents.
Sure.
I think Lonerism as a background, I think the contrast between them is actually, I think you'll probably get more out of it the more you invested into it in terms of the switch, like the moves he's made to like when I saw some people go like, oh, psychedelic, I'm like, no, it ain't. This guy, I mean, it is. There's some things about it that are, kind of psychedelic, but I feel like he kind of took the idea, because the Lonerism is about loving being alone. It's just about being isolated. So he seems to like. This is the kind of thing I like about the narrative of his albums. Excuse me. He seems to like to take abstract ideas about humanity and like the human experience and make them into music, which is interesting. So the idea of becoming a different person, I remember him talking about like, well, it's not necessarily even about becoming a different person, even like more than it is like specifically about being a shit person, like becoming like a piece of trash. And you read some of the lyrics and stuff, like "cause I'm a man and love paranoia and new person same old mistakes." I thought that was kind of interesting. I thought like, at a macro level, the commentary he's making about humanity, or not even really commentary, but just what he's saying about being human, and what it says like on his actual, like in his actual discography, where he's changing styles. I think that's neat. That like, at a really actually that's something I would actually talk of like when we talk about the next album, this sort of macro concept that like, cuts straight through the album. I think as it reflects on lonerism, that's really interesting. Where it's like, oh, it's about changing. No, yes, I'm changing, and stuff like that. Like actually, my favorite song in the album is actually "The Moment," because it has this really headlong momentum, kind of reminds me of Elephant on the last album. Although, like the synths are crystal as fuck. Like those synths are brisk synths. Like yeah, very 80s, and I actually really like that. I think it's pretty. It might be kind of clear that I like this album probably more than most. So I'm a little more like invested in Tame Impala, I guess. So I actually really like love Lonerism. So I think just as a general concept, I can see how some people don't like it. It's kind of like what some people didn't like Reflector. Reflector had its critics when Arcade Fire made that switch. I feel Occurrence is kind of similar. I never felt Occurrence was too long, per se.
I don't think
I feel some songs maybe could have been a little shorter. Like eventually the good song was like, let me look at it, 5 minutes.
When I first saw the length for
but
I was like, "Ooh, I'm not sure if I want this," and it turned out I did.
Yeah,
want
that's
it.
what I was thinking.
Yeah, Let It Happen's actually kind of long. The weird thing about Let It Happen, I'm not sure if you guys felt this too, but it's like, oh god, 7 minutes, and it's playing like, okay, all right, when's it gonna end? But I'm gonna stick around though. And every time I heard this album, I felt the exact same way, like, this is long, but I'm gonna stick around though.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the thing about the song.
It doesn't really feel like it's 8 minutes.
It doesn't.
Yeah, because it's basically like split in two, essentially.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's too long ever. It also flows really well.
Yeah. I actually like Kevin's lyrics. Well, yeah, his lyrics was his voice, I'm like to say. Insofar because I think that it speaks to the sort of nature of him as a musician, and sort of he even talks about like he's always in his head, like to the point where he has trouble like dealing with pressure, and he's like a weird like perfectionist, so he's kind of alienated by his own music. And so to have like this falsetto that's like basically just disputing like all this existential stuff that's very, very sort of disembodied, I think it works in a really conceptual way. That he has this falsetto that's kind of always on the outside of the, like it doesn't like his voice doesn't sit in most of like his compositions. It sort of just like hovers around, and like it's always on the outside. It's always noticeable. I feel like especially with Currents, actually for whatever reason you feel like it'd be more present on an album called like Lonerism, that his vocals would be more alienated. But I felt like on Currents it was more insular insofar as it felt very disembodied, like very abstract. I mean, which was I think what he was going for, like sort of abstract change. So I think Currents is a really great album, actually. I don't think it's as good as Lonerism, but like Lonerism, I don't think they're ever gonna top that, in my opinion.
I really don't like Lonerism. Why do I like Lonerism.
I mean, everything. You don't have to like everything.
I guess not. Everyone else liked it too, and I was just like,
I plan on giving it a try eventually.
I personally think that Danny, you and RJ did a disservice by listening to this album first. Should I probably listen to Lonerism first? Because then you'd be able to see the transition and stuff. Hey man,
what
that next album?
Who needs that?
I like listened to all three, or not fucking that third one, but the other two. two albums
Hey.
that people actually give a
Yeah.
shit about. I listened to that before I listened to the next album, and I was better for it. I was definitely better for it, I think. But yeah, no. I'll probably just start with my score. I'd give it an 8.6.
Yeah, good.
All right.
Yeah, I'm feeling honestly, earlier I was like, well, yeah, the Disciples and a couple of the other interlude tracks, in my opinion, were like really weak and kind of held this album back. But now that I really think about that, the only qualm I have is with the falsetto. I'm giving this album a 9.1.
Oh wow!
I told you guys I liked
Wow.
it.
Comes
I liked
out. You did.
So go ahead.
Guys,
Maddie,
I
what are you
like
feeling?
it.
Oh, I'm so mean.
So you convinced yourself
I'm
there.
gonna give it a 7.8. 8. Yeah, just an
Alright.
8.
Really? You sure about that?
Yeah.
And
That didn't sound
RJ, what are you feeling?
Who am I to argue?
Me, I'm gonna give it this. I'm gonna give it this number that you guys have never heard me say ever.
7.
I'm gonna give it a 7.
777. All right. Now.
Wait, Chewy,
you
what
gave
did you give
8.6.
it?
8.6.
8.6, and then Danny was a 9 point.
Love how I'm
1 or
9.1.
the only
2?
one who avoids the
One.
decimals.
So this is it. This is the
Danny,
this is
please
the
take
album
it away.
RJ
Please.
and I have been anticipating to talk about since we have heard it.
I'm gonna start jumping around.
This is one of my most anticipated albums of the year. At first it wasn't. The single dimed out.
Same.
I heard it and I was like, well, it's all right. It's not as good as Monitor, but it's all right. We're talking about Titus Andronicus. This is the most lamentable tragedy for those of you who don't know. And if you follow me on Twitter, if you follow RJ on Twitter, if you follow either of us on Tumblr, we are very, very into Mr. Patrick Stickles and his Titus Andronicus band. And
Yes.
this album has, at first, I wasn't really grooving on it. I was like, well, it's good. It's not as good as Monitor, but it's good. But after all the time that I've sat with this album, all the time that I've researched this album, all the time that I've thought about this album, I'm going to start this review off the best way I can by saying this album is a 10 out of 10. And the reason I'm doing this
There it is.
is because I have a lot of shit to say about this album, so I apologize in advance.
Right out the gate.
Not go
First of
for
all,
it.
We're front loaded here.
Front-loaded is a good word to use because this album is front-loaded, and it is also back-loaded, and it is just loaded. This album is dense. This album is like you go to a nice restaurant, you sit down, and the waiter hands you a fucking menu, and you're like, I'll have the BLT. And you get your BLT, and you take a bite into it, and it's actually a burger and a grilled cheese and just every food imaginable that could go well with a BLT just slapped into one. And you're like, wow, this is not what I ordered, not what I was expecting, but I am pretty damn happy. And the reason I'm saying this is because this album is dense. It is very dense, and it makes you think that it's not. To the average listener who has not done any research about this album or listened to any of this or has like no idea what this band is doing with the album, it's kind of just like your average I've seen it called butt rock, dad rock. Those are very general terms that a lot of people who have been critiquing this album say it is. I feel like those people who are saying that are missing the point completely. This album jumps around with its references. This album references Daniel Johnston. This album references The Clash. This album references Crass. It references, a big one is Bruce Springsteen. It also references Irish
References are
never going
traditional
away, though.
music.
Ever.
It references
I'll tell you who it references really, really
Who?
hard when I get to
Okay.
talking about it. Oh, I'll tell
I know.
you.
I have some references.
We'll
No,
see.
You might let on, Maddie. I think you should.
No, I like to
Okay,
tease.
Your nuclear arms. Because I actually have some references that, when it comes to my turn, I picked up. I'm like, what the fuck?
this.
Yeah.
That's an interesting
There's a
one.
Daniel Johnston cover on here. There's Auld Lang Syne on here. Don't know if you guys know this, but there's a song called Intermission, which is a minute of silence. To those of any, it's called Intermission. It's actually, and I don't know how much bullshit this is, but it's a cover of John Cage's 433.
No, I saw
fuck?
that genius annotation, and I think that's just a big joke.
Yeah.
Wait, that doesn't make any sense.
That doesn't make any sense. Because that
Doesn't
wasn't
make any
done by the
goddamn
man
sense.
himself.
But anyways, it's a big rock opera. It's 29 tracks long. It starts on the same note that it ends on, and it's about the manic cycles of a single individual known as the hero.
Now, can I stop you right
Yeah,
there
sure.
for a second? So, for those of you who have no concept of Titus Andronicus, he said the album is almost 30 songs fucking long. When I saw that, I'm like, am I seeing things? Because keep in mind, it was late at night. I'm like, I should start listening to this album. I've been trying to listen to this album. I'm like, oh, that means 19. Nope. She said 29. That, I think, is more intimidating than it actually is.
It
But
is,
continue.
because a lot
Yeah,
of the
like
songs
that.
are just like a minute,
Yeah.
30 seconds, little interludes here and there, etc.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
continue, Daniel.
Go on, Dan.
Don't let that fool you, though, because if you think that each of these songs don't have a very specific style or sound to them, if you think you hear 29 songs, a lot of them are 55 seconds long, a lot of them are 2 minutes long, to fans of punk, that should not be a surprise. You know, punk
Yeah.
keeps itself pretty concise, pretty short to the point. I want one of the biggest things about this album is that it does that, but each song doesn't sound like another song. There is like reminiscence because it's split into 5 acts, and each of the 5 acts are supposed to sound like sonically like in the same like kind of style, but each song sounds unique. Specifically, there are 2 songs on here with the same title, I Lost My Mind and I Lost My Mind.
Yeah.
One of them sounds like a Bruce Springsteen
Pretty
song.
cool effect.
It's very catchy. It's almost like a Billy Joel song too, actually, because it's got a lot of piano. And the other song is a Daniel Johnston cover, as if Crass did a Daniel Johnston cover. It's punk. It's fast. It's in your face.
Wait. So the second I Lost My Mind is
Yes.
actually a cover?
Yeah, it's a cover of a Daniel Johnston song. And I've been comparing this album a lot to Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly, because of a few different things. The biggest one being this album is just as dense with cultural references as Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly is. There are a lot of people who have put a lot of research into To Pimp a Butterfly, and almost every line is a nod to or a reference to something in black culture or funk or anything like that. Titus Andronicus is the Most Lamentable Tragedy is much the same, except it's not in references to like racial relations. It's more in references to just musical relations. Music that the band's frontman Patrick Stickles was influenced by, or etc. And it's very blatant. It's done like, obviously any artist is, when they make music, it's gonna sound like music that they've listened to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
But when you intentionally do that, I feel like there's a different like point to it. And everything in this album is for a point. Everything in this album coincides with the narrative, and it's one hell of a confusing narrative, but it is a narrative, and it is a damn fucking interesting one. It touches on some pretty heavy shit, but it's also got a lighthearted atmosphere to it at times. At other times, it sounds as bleak as a funeral, specifically at the end of the song, in which we find our hero contemplating suicide and the pros and cons of doing himself in.
Yeah.
Now, is that Future 5?
Future 5 and Stable Boy.
Oh yeah.
Future 5, which is a piano ballad, and Stable Boy, which is kind of another nod to Daniel Johnston. It's recorded. Yeah,
like an homage.
It is very much an homage.
Call it an aesthetic
Yeah.
tribute, I believe.
I wasn't really feeling it at first, but in the context, this is an album that has to be listened to from front to back. There are a couple singles on here. Dimed Out's a really great single. Fatal Flaws a really great single.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are also a couple standout tracks that are like set pieces in a movie. More Perfect
Mhm.
Union, She Said, He Said, those tracks.
I'd say the first I Lost My Mind
Yeah,
is one of
yeah.
those.
I Lost My Mind, the first one, and No Future Part 4 are all like set pieces.
Oh yeah.
And each song is like a scene. It is very much a rock opera. If you don't like rock operas, give this album a chance, but just keep that in mind. Because it's something that when I first listened to this album, I didn't quite grasp, and I feel like that kind of negatively affected the way I was listening to the album. Keeping in mind that it's a rock opera and that it's split into 5 acts really just blew me the fuck away. Because
Yeah, man.
it's so it's almost obsessive how many tiny details this album is packed with. It's everywhere, and at the same time it's concise. At the same time, nothing feels like it's out of place. It tells a story not only with the lyrics but with the music. It's a fucking rock opera, and it's one of the best rock operas ever made, in my opinion. That's not my fanboy speaking, trust me, because at first listen, I did not really like this album.
I would agree.
That's that was unscripted and as good as I could try and fit everything in as to why I think this album's a 10. Why I think it's a masterpiece. I think it's better than The Monitor. It's not my favorite, just because again The Monitor holds a lot of personal reverence with me, but
Sure.
this album is quite possibly one of the most important rock albums of the decade.
Oof.
Well.
I want to
Alright.
go next.
Feel free.
Okay.
Okay, so let's roll this back. Let me take you on a walk, like everything. So, after just being around these two, RJ and Danny, talking about Titus and Andronicus, like, endlessly, I gotta get around to it, but I feel like I was in a war of attrition mentally, where like, oh, I can't keep this up forever. I'm gonna have to listen to these guys. So basically, I think it's like a week or two that I've been listening to Titus and Andronicus, but I'm like, if you're like me, like, I don't like to, like, if there's a new album coming out, it depends what it is. I'll look at what they're saying about the album, and I'm like, okay, I can listen to this album, or I can go back and get context of how they do things, how progression works. Like, I'm one of the people who would go back. So I went back to The Monitor because that's universally seen as the best album. That's a great album. Like, I don't need to really tell you more than that. I mean, Danny can tell you like endlessly why that album's great. And then I listened to that album, like, this album's great. And then I went further back to Airing of Grievances. I'm like, okay, I can see how he's been threatening to make this album, to make Tragedy, Lamentable Tragedy, this whole time, where Airing of Grievances is like, oh, it's like a stage show, like a small, like an outside stage show.
Mhm.
And then like The Monitor is more like, oh, well, they're stepping it up a bit. They're in a bigger venue. This is pretty. This is like far bigger. This is something you wear. You try to look presentable when you're going to the show. And so Lamentable Tragedy is a straight up, you're wearing a suit. You're going to sit in this opera 4 hours. This was gonna happen. So Daniel was talking about some of the references and like the musical influences. I think there are actually some weirder influences on this album that I definitely noticed. Like, one song in particular, especially with the piano, like the hard sort of, like hard blues pianos, like the sort of stomping pianos, especially on like Lonely Boy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Lonely Boy actually reminded me of David Bowie.
Huh.
Like some tracks remind me of Bowie. Some tracks like Fired Up, sort of really
yeah.
big, sort of lavish guitar anthems. They remind me more of Queen, if than anything. So I'm getting
Mhm.
hints of like the Clash and Sex Pistols and stuff like that, and even Dead Kennedys. But yeah, I'm also getting Bowie and Queen, and like Dana Johnston. And then in some places like Funny Feeling, where like guitars just started like guitar trails, like just distortion trails. It sound like more like Sonic Youth. So the kind of things that Patrick Stickle and the rest of his company there are like drawing from to play, like piece together this giant monster. It's kind of like going to like a hole in the wall burger place, and they're just determined to put everything in the fucking bun to make sure you come back again. Like this kind of me and Audrey was talking, and Audrey was saying like Patrick Stickle basically makes records like everyone's gonna be his last. Like I don't think this kind of sounds like the kind of record where it's like, all right, I'm gonna like leave and go into the mountains for 10 years. So I'm gonna put every single idea I have into this record. So there's actually a really interesting, actually no, not really that interesting because Danny already said it. Like I'm gonna use that word like macro themes again because it's a good word, but like we were talking about when I was talking about currents and the idea where there's an approach that cuts through the entire album in terms of how it's structured, where the cycle loops, much like the Depression cycle, it loops over and over. So yeah, when it ends on the last song, which is Immoral, which is just 31 seconds, and it's like it's an instrumental song. Yeah, it's just a drone, so it's kind of like I'm not gonna be too personal, but I mean, like in terms of depression, I mean, I'm not going to get into any experiences personally, but lots of people feel like there's this weird haze to the cycle where things just sort of lose focus, and it's just this weird, dense nothingness that I think Immoral really brilliantly captures, and then it cycles again. So then you have. I also kind of like how I'm not trying to jump ideas, but like it's kind of hard not to, especially with an album like this. I like how, because I just remembered it, how these influences, like the Sex Pistols, Queen, Bowie, they're actually used to personify the hero in different ways. Like some of the more manic tracks are probably a punk song, like what's like Look Alive. Actually, Look Alive and Look Alike, in a lot of ways, are sort of just fireball punk songs that draw on stuff like the Sex Pistols and stuff. But like Fired Up is more grand in like the Queen way. So it's interesting how they're using different influences for the sound, and then doubling it as an actual like character development in terms of what the character disposition is at any given time.
I'm gonna jump in here real quick and say there's a reason we're not touching upon the narrative that tightly, and it's because if we were to touch upon the narrative, we would be here for another hour. So if you're interested in this album, go there. There's a big thing about what the narrative is, what's happening in the story. Go look at that because it'll add a whole new perspective onto what you're listening to. But anyways, continue, Chewy.
Yeah.
So there's even one of my favorite things is actually Beach Boys don't get enough credit for this. I'm gonna bring back Smile. I swear to God, I bring Smile into every fucking podcast. But like, Smile starts with this sort of not Byzantine. It starts with this sort of monkish choir. The song called G, or a prayer, and so it sounds very religious. It's just for a pop-ish album, like a rock album, like a popular music album, to start with something like that. I think it's still probably some of the most effective, it's probably one of the most effective openers of all time. And actually, when you open the second half of the album, it begins with something similar to a prayer, to G, with Sun Salutation. It's this really beautiful choir ensemble thing, and it's all vocals. There's no instrumentals, but it's really a testament to how far they're willing to stretch this record. I mean, I can't think of a punk album that's stretched this far since probably Sandinista of the Clash, and I would say this thing stretches farther and is better put together than Sandinista, in my opinion.
This is hands down the most ambitious punk record I've ever heard.
Yeah, as far as the punk genre specifically, definitely.
I want to say yes. And okay, one of them, definitely the most.
I mean, as far as when the punk genre was first starting out, I think maybe those were the most ambitious because it was new. But now that the genre has been weathered in a little bit. It's definitely like trying to flip it up and change things and introduce narratives.
I want to say that. Yeah, I want to say it, but I can feel wherever my copy of London Calling is looking at me, somewhere in this room.
Yeah, I mean, that's legend. So.
Yeah, so I won't say that, but it's if it was a number 2, would easily be this album. This is easily one of the most ambitious rock albums I think I've ever heard. It's just the diversity. That's just what impresses me. Like, Danny brought up the idea of eating a really satisfying meal, and I really feel that. Like, the drums are satisfying as fuck. Guitar riffs are satisfying as fuck. The lyrics, the way things change, the sort of intonation of the characters, all is so satisfying. That's one of the best things you can have, as opposed to listening to like a Mumford & Sons album where you don't know what happened, but you ingested something. The idea where you're like hanging off of every beat, you can feel every like tissue of a song, every scene of a song. I felt like this album probably had the longest stretches of just gold, like from the start to maybe like More Perfect Union, which I mean some people can argue and gets a little lost in the weeds, but I think it's a good set piece. But yeah, it'll go like 5-6 songs deep before it hits a song where you're like, okay, this song's not as good as the rest of the stretches. It's really.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
I was about to say that
I was just gonna
first
cap the thought.
stretch from the first song on the album.
Prayer 4?
Hmm?
A Prayer 4, Future 4.
No, the first,
Future
like
4?
the drone, from the drone to the Magic Morning.
Oh,
Act
from the
1 to
drone,
Act
yeah.
2. That first stretch, if that doesn't hook you in, then this album isn't for you. It
Wait, okay, so do you know the acts?
Yeah,
what
acts
are
are...
Patrick told me over Twitter.
Patrick said if it had to be divided, the way he wants it divided is the acts are done in seasons and in drones. So you go from the first drone to the second drone, which would be the Magic Morning, and then you go from the Magic Morning to Intermission, and then you go from from Sun Salutation up to, I want to say it's Please.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And then from Come On Saban
have the track
to
that's a great
Odd Lang
song.
Sign.
That's a Queen song, right?
It is. And then from Odd Lang Syne into The Fall, and then from The Fall
Immoral.
into...
Oh, wait.
Yeah, and then from The Fall into, Immoral. So those are the 5 acts. And they each have very distinctive sounds. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was actually just about to get into that. That last trail from, like, Odd Lang Syne to, like, I'm Going Insane. Like it's like this raging mania, and then it sort of just disappears into these really sort of quieter songs, like the final No Future, the 5th one. You think it would end eventually, Patrick, but whatever. That song is really that kind of. I feel like a lot of albums that are concept albums, they sort of lay bare, eventually, what the album is about. Like I hate to bring it up again, but it's because I was actually just listening to Reflector yesterday. Eventually you get to like Supersymmetry, and that's alright, this is what this album is about, ultimately. And I feel like No Future Part 5 is just like that song when I hit, I was like, I remember I was actually in the group chat, I'm like, this fucking song, man. And you're like, is it No Future Part 5? I'm like, yeah. Like you knew. Like you can tell what part of it, and Stable Boy, I actually felt that No Future Part 5 could have ended it, but when I think about Stable Boy is an interesting thing to, like an interesting linchpin to actually the whole album.
It feels like
because
an epilogue.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Patrick Stickles has talked about his fight with mental illness. I feel he's done that right, so I think it's an interesting cap. That's when I said this sounds like the last time we ever made, because it's interesting where he's touching upon things he said, and the fact that this whole album is about depression. He'd never run from his depression. He's talked about it, and then he's drawing on, like, you know, Dana Johnson, who is notoriously not notoriously, that sounds bad, but famously, you know, a manic depressive artist, and he's paying homage to it, and it ends and it starts to cycle again. So it's a really dense sort of end, and like a really nice tying of loose ends, like beautiful cap, and then it starts again. I don't know. I because I remember I just want to
Yeah,
I just want to
I
end this thought
understand.
now because now I'm just going on.
It's hard
Yeah,
not to.
so you and RJ were talking about, God, we need to talk about this album. Like, you can't, like, I'm sure it's good. I'm sure it's even great, but yeah, it's the kind of thing where actually I was prototyping a review for the album, but then I decided to erase it because I'd rather talk about it. The kind of album where the more you talk about it, the more you realize how much it's affected you and how much you love it. If you love it, the more you talk about it, the more that will come out. And I think National Tragedy, I think it's one of the best of the year.
Yes.
I definitely think so. Definitely the best rock album of the year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
RJ, you go next. I want to
I
finish
really
it
want to
out.
hear what you have to say,
All
RJ,
right.
because I've been dying to hear it since we've listened to this album.
Yeah, you gotta
Okay.
go first, because I got a good, like, finishing thought.
All right, so I'm just gonna give some context here. I've been waiting for this album since like late 2013
Oh God.
because like he started saying in interviews, he's like, okay, the next album is gonna come out in 2014. It's gonna be a 30-track, hour-and-a-half rock opera about manic depression. So, all of 2014, I was waiting, where's the bit of this album? Where is it? What's it gonna be? And like, literally, I'm not gonna say literally nothing, because he did do like, what, 2 singles in 2014? Because he's making a single series.
Oh, yeah, the single series.
He was making the single series. And then he actually did like a whole quote-unquote live press conference
Yeah.
via
Him just
YouTube
talking to a
and
camera.
Google Hangout. And I watched, and it was basically just him in his room with a hoodie and playing a new song or two from an iPhone, or excuse me, a Mets phone, as he called it.
The hell is
A phone with the Mets cover on it.
that?
Anyways, but yeah, and then finally, eventually Dimed Out came out, and I was actually really into Dimed Out. I was like, okay, I'm really feeling it. But it's also one of those songs where I was like, but I bet in the context of the album, this is gonna, oh boy.
You got the fruit with the rest of the tree.
You liked it a lot more than I did. I remember.
Whereas kind of like I from, if we're comparing back to Kendrick Lamar, like I from To Pimp a Butterfly,
Oh, yeah.
that album was
I was
much
thinking
better
the
in
same thing.
context.
I'm like, all right, where's the rest of the fucking album?
Yeah.
Where is it? Where is it, Frank? You think I forgot? You think I forgot on this podcast? No, I don't sleep.
And I hope
It's the last
Patrick
day,
Stickles
man.
doesn't get mad about us comparing him to Kendrick Lamar. Because
I mean,
Patrick, if you're listening,
yeah, okay.
come on.
Oh God, he might listen.
He
to this.
probably
He has
will.
eyes.
Patrick, if you're listening to this,
Wait, but, like, what? Does he not like
he
Kendrick?
called-
I don't understand.
Some words were said.
There's a thing. There's a thing.
Okay.
Um,
We don't have to go into
the
it.
Patrick
but...
Yeah.
Kendrick beef.
All
We
right.
can talk about this after the show and the after party.
Well, I mean, I think he'll take it as a compliment in regards to, like, Kendrick is really highly regarded as, like, a poet and very deep, and people revere him in his genre, and now, I don't know, we're revering him in this different genre.
Yeah, I agree.
I wouldn't be offended, but
I wouldn't be
that's
offended.
me. I don't know about the thing.
Critically, yeah, I mean, Patrick is a very animated person.
Indeed.
So, like, I don't know. I wouldn't. I kind of agree. I mean, when we're looking at it, like, Pimp a Butterfly is probably the most critically it came down with 2015.
Yeah.
Actually, no, it is.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
Objectively, it is.
That wouldn't
So-
end Karen Lowell to Stereo Gun.
Yeah, those two albums. Is there another album? There's probably a few, but I can't think of them. Yeah, so to mention this new Titus album in that same, not even like, oh, well, they're close. No, they're like pressed
Yeah,
up
they're
against-
right up there.
Yeah, so like it's not an insult. I hope it doesn't take it that way, because that would be wrong, in my opinion. Like, not
We
to
love
how
you.
I feel.
But,
Don't hate
RJ,
us.
continue.
Yes, go.
Okay. Anyways, and then finally, this album did finally come, and he served it. They served it up on the plate, and I said, okay, this isn't exactly what I thought this was gonna be, But I'm gonna dig in. I'm gonna dig into this meal metaphor that's been going on. Anyways, I'm gonna dig in.
Callback.
And call back. Anyways, uh, this album, it's I would say it's their most energetic effort yet, which is pretty spectacular considering it's an hour and a half long,
That's
over
the
20
thing,
tracks.
It doesn't make sense. It shouldn't be this
It
engaging. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's too long.
Like,
It isn't, but like, yeah.
but like every song, it's that, most of them at least. I'm not gonna say every, but it's that, oh, come on, let's go, pick up the energy, let's go, we're going, and then the song will end, and then let's choose an example. I Lost My Mind into Mystery Man. I Lost My Mind, it ended, it's over, and then it's like, all right,
Yep.
come on, you're not done yet.
Yep.
Get up. It's time to keep moving. And I just really love that. I really love when albums, they don't let you go. They keep you going. Even, with the drones.
Yeah, that's what I love about the drones and the intermissions, too. Because you'll get this long-ass just bam, 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 and then, okay, you better take your breathing room, because guess what we're about to do? And then, Sun Salutation will start, and you'll be like, oh, God. And then the first chords to fucking He Said, She Said will start, and then you'll be like, fuck, we're back into the cycle. And look at that. Like the Manic Depressive cycle. It's genius.
There it is.
Yep.
I was gonna say. There it is. Ain't no sleep.
No, indeed. Or even an example from Lang Syne into I'm Going Insane.
Yeah.
Because that was just I'm going insane.
Yeah, and the guitar solo
and
nasty.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that is obviously best guitar solo on the album, but there's not too many anyways, so it's fair. But that's also really expected coming from Titus and Andronicus, because you don't get too many. Well, you get some guitar solos, but you don't get full-on shred too often.
It is. It reminded me of Judas Priest. I said one time.
Yeah, that's like get out your Van Halen.
Like it is just ooh.
Yeah. But yeah, and also speaking of when it comes to drones, I like the drones, because they're not really anything special, but they do have their representations of in the narrative of the album. But I also just like it when Patrick Stickles includes his little drones and stuff like that. I always like the touches of other things that aren't punk and indie in the album, like the first like half of Funny Feeling. They build up the funny feeling.
Yeah, which is very Sonic
that's
Youth-y. I never noticed that, Chewy. Yeah, very Sonic Youth-y.
It's like even it's like I was slightly thinking like slight tinge of post-rock, but Sonic Youth is also definitely successful. Like post-rock Sonic Youth.
Yeah, I could see that kind of.
It reminds me of the Sprawl.
Volta-ish, or like at the drive-in. Some at the drive-in songs, they're off kilter in a way where it sounds like it's just constantly building.
You know that middle section of the Sprawl by Sonic Youth on that's what that kind of reminded me of as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh god,
Which is a fucking that's a good compliment, because
Youth.
that's like my favorite moment on that album is the middle section of the Sprawl.
But yeah, Funny Feeling, one of my favorite tracks. There's a lot of favorite tracks, because this song is loaded with fucking great songs. Also, one thing that I really love about this album are the transitions, because this album does transitions really well.
Does.
Like, this album is loaded with smooth, excellent transitions. I Lost My Mind into the Mystery Man. Look Alike into I Lost My Mind by the Daniel Johnston cover. Fired Up into Dimed Out was really good. One of my favorites is Fatal Flaw into Please. Because that drone, and then the little spoken word little section over there, or like kind of singy type thing. Because that was really great. The best, if I had to choose like one of the best of the drones, it would have to be Please. Even though, you could fuck it, calling it a drone, whatever. Let me see, what else is there? Because there's so much to talk about when it comes to this album. when it comes to references, the references thing is interesting because this album is loaded with references sonically and references lyrically. Like the first lyrics of the entire album are basically an REM reference because it's like "Someday start with an earthquake," and even in his annotation he quotes "It's the end of the world as we know it" by REM or whatever. And I was looking at a lot of the Genius annotations just to see because Patrick did a lot of them, and most of them are just look back at this song, look at you know. Anyways, because even like some of the titles are like, I don't know. The narrative is just its own other thing. Because like there's even an act that's like a dream sequence, and I think that's that's from Please. That's like the whole Sivahan
that's the whole Saban
sequence, which isn't
That's
Saban.
what he's dreaming about.
He's dreaming. Well, not necessarily a girl. He claimed he wanted to make sure that it was.
Well, actually,
he wanted to make sure that this album is completely gender neutral, which is fucking radical.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that is really.
Well, Steph.
Because that was the thing.
I really appreciated that.
And should be appreciated in proper context. So that actually part of like, is this person dreaming? Are they dreaming?
Yeah, he wanted to. Yeah.
And then it wasn't to like,
they are. It's either
dreaming.
like an element of time travel, dreaming, or really fucking crazy acid trip. I think is what he said.
Yeah.
He's like, interpret it however the fuck you want.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Which
that's
is
kind of art.
Yeah, of course. Also, another thing that hasn't been touched on too much is how great of a lyric writer Patrick Stickles is.
Patrick Stickles.
He's a fantastic writer, period.
Like,
a lot of people praise great literary works
nice.
for like having tons of references to other things. Like this, if you read like For Whom the Bell Tolls, there's a lot of biblical references. There are a lot of references everywhere, and that's like a classic. A lot of these classics will reference other classics because writers like to circle jerk, and and that's not necessarily a bad thing.
That's fine.
You know, I mean,
yeah, that's fine.
But and so I wouldn't want to accuse. I'm not going to say, Patrick Stickles is circle jerking, because he's not. But he's taking that technique that a lot of classic like literature, like great figures, did. There are biblical references.
I wouldn't.
There are Shakespeare references all over this fucking thing.
I didn't really want to cut you into.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like there's a lot here. There's not just music references. There's a lot.
I mean, even the title of the album itself is, a literary reference, of course, because Titus Andronicus the play. The full title is The Most Lamentable Tragedy, and Patrick even said, this is as close as it's coming to a self-titled album. So it's like he said it's like a sneaky self-titled album.
Which is cool because Titus is my favorite. It's gory as shit. Really good Shakespeare play.
Dan, when you're talking about like necessarily referencing other works, I feel like most art just borrow things.
Yeah,
like, that's
it does borrow things, but a lot of that time, when it happens, I said this earlier, when it happens on accident, when it happens intentionally, I think there's a big difference there. Like,
I'll get into that.
Like,
in my little.
All right, so I'll be that. I'll be that.
My little speech.
Okay.
Everyone has one.
Also, a thing when it comes to writing and how the songs flow is one. I also like just how some of like the rhymes that he does or whatever. Just like, cause like this one that really sticks out to me is in the first, is in No Future Part 4. Is like one line is fragrance of a pungent skunk hung in a repugnant dungeon, and it's like I don't know why I just really love the repugnant thing.
Yeah,
Anyways.
Some nice alliteration.
Also, I just love it's a really nice alliteration. I love my alliteration. It's fun. And I also just love how some songs, like, they sound like they should have like a chorus or something, but like they don't. Like, I Lost My Mind, the Titus Andronicus version. It's a song that sounds like it should have like a chorus and everything, but no, it's just like this long ranting thing about him, talking about losing his mind and everything, and his whole, his deal.
Every time someone says I lost my mind, all I hear in my head is I don't mind when I lose my mind.
That's what I'm hearing every time.
It's such a good hook. It's such a good hook.
Yeah. That's another
It
good
is,
thing.
it
Actually,
really
I think
is.
Danny, you brought this up earlier. Dude can write a fucking hook.
Yeah. Oh, he fucking can.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh man,
You're at a damn
there
hook.
are a lot of hooks that you'll find yourself humming or repeating.
Hooked on
Yeah,
to.
haha, a bing bong. There we go.
Also, when it comes to songs, this album, it has two of the conclusion to the No Future songs. It also has two of the best of them. I'm not really too into like the first two. I barely even remember what they're like, really.
The
No
first
first
two
Future
have
one's
a
pretty
good Sonic.
slow.
Sounds nice. Like Sonic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really bright, the second one. I actually just listened to that earlier today. The second No Future is pretty bright. The third No Future had that fucking amazing outro.
Yeah. You will
Where
always
they're-
be a loser.
Which is something
P.U.
that we
be a
can
loser.
touch on, like the way that he does this.
God, I hope I see that one. Actually, can I
What?
point that out? This album made me buy a ticket to see
Okay.
them.
Yeah.
Dang.
You know how you said you're
I have to see
shoving
him, man.
Jamie XX down all your friends' throats? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah,
doing it on
it's
purpose.
just happening.
I'm just
yeah.
putting it there. Someone's gonna eat
Yeah,
this
that's
Scotty.
happening to me. So I'd just like to make a formal apology.
Yeah, I'm
to,
kind of doing that
to
too.
Matt and Caleb, if you guys are listening to this. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. This album's amazing, and everything is amazing. And come see them with me. But anyways,
Everything is
Yep.
awesome.
I love that song. I love that movie.
It's my
Yeah.
turn now.
you ready, Maddie?
All right.
Let's see.
Y'all ready? Okay. So I'm gonna start with a little brief history of rock operas. And there's a debate in regards to which rock opera is the first one. Some people think it was SF Sorrow, written by the Pretty Things in 1968, which is kind of interesting, but it's not my favorite. It's like psychedelic rock, which is really important, like in regards to Pink Floyd, which I'll get into in a second. But there's also some like heavy metal seeds that were planted, but whatever. Others think that maybe the first one was the story of Simon Simopath, which has more of like a linear storyline, but isn't great. Also, again, it's like psychedelic rock, which is basically where rock operas kind of got their roots.
Yeah.
There's also like
I
the
can see
musical. There's also the musical theater element, but like when you think of rock operas, it's really kind of psychedelic, and they influenced Pink Floyd, who dropped concept album after concept album, and their most linear album is probably The Wall, which I already hear a lot of in Titus. Like, not too much, but it's there, you know what I mean?
Huh.
But
Yeah,
before that, and more importantly than that, in my opinion, there is The Who. And
Oh shit!
The Who made the rock opera what it is. And in my opinion, no one has ever done it better. Many have tried, gotten close, specifically Bowie with Ziggy Stardust, and again Pink Floyd with The Wall. But The Who dropped 2, almost 3 rock operas. And the first one is Tommy, which is amazing, and you should absolutely listen to it. There's also like the psychedelic thing. That was when The Who really got into psychedelia sort of stuff. But there's also a really nice detail in like regards to Titus Andronicus and Tommy, because Tommy actually has only one cover song on it, and then like this Titus album also has one cover on it, and that might be just like me reading into it, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has
oh
two.
well, shit,
Yeah.
never mind then. I'm
a pair of brown eyes
Yeah.
is the cover.
Never mind then.
And-
But like still like maybe the idea of taking covers but applying it to your own story
Yeah.
is really interesting, and The Who
really
did
smart.
that. The Who did that. Eyesight to the Blind, they put in Tommy, which is not by them. But then, after Tommy came Who's Next, which was gonna be a rock album, or a rock opera, before Pete Townsend scrapped it. But that's kind of interesting, by the way. You should look into what Who's Next was gonna be, because it kind of sounds like Pete Townsend invented the internet, almost, but whatever. Anyway, after Who's Next came my favorite record of all time, called Quadrophenia, which is their sophomore rock opera and is regarded by many publications as the greatest rock opera of all time. It is multi-layered despite having the single linear story. It not only tells one story, it tells like 5. And that's what listening to this Titus album reminded me of so much, because the Most Lamentable Tragedy is so rooted in what Patrick's musical influences are. It reminds me of Quadrophenia, because Quadrophenia is the same way. It's about the environment that the Who grew up in musically. Not only like their whole gang war thing that was going on in England at the time between mods and rockers, but also the fundamentals of music, how it really, really, really fucking changed between the 40s, 50s, 60s, and like how blues affected it, and jazz, and like how people evolved through the music they listened to. And it reminds me so much of this in regards to its complexity, but also in regards to like some of the instrumentals. Another thing about The Who is that they really heavily influenced punk music. They're actually referred to as the godfathers of punk. And if you listen to Quadrophenia, you can hear it. It really like goes so fucking hard sometimes. And it's through that, like without Quadrophenia, you don't have the Sex Pistols, you don't have the Clash, and further on, you don't have Titus Andronicus. And I think it's really interesting.
One thing.
Yeah.
When did Quadrophenia come out?
1973.
So what about the first Velvet Underground record?
That too.
Well, yeah,
I'll say
proto-punk
that.
is a big stew. Obviously, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, you have the
Yeah.
Stooges.
But
Yeah,
there's also,
MC5
it wasn't just, there was also the Kinks, like, punk music was really rooted in the 2-minute 50 pop single. That was like the Kinks, the Who, the Animals, whatever. Anyways. Shit. Where was I? Anyway. It's okay. And I think it's really interesting that Titus and Andronicus are, in a way, going back to their forefathers and making this rock opera, this punk rock opera, and homaging The Who, and I'm really into it. I never listened to Titus before, but as soon as I heard it, I swear to God, it was like going back and listening to The Who for the first time, going back to my favorite record, and it was really refreshing, especially in regards to the state of the modern punk rock opera. You had fucking, like, Drones was kind of conceptual and had a thing, and then we have, like, fucking Blurry Face, and then we had, like, fucking Green Day doing their shit, so I'm like...
that 21st Century Breakdown or
American Idiot?
Both of those.
I think they're both, like,
yeah, they're both
albums.
American Idiot's technically a rock opera, but I think 21st Century...
But it's shit.
That was the first album I bought on CD.
I'm
no,
sorry.
it's terrible.
They're
it's terrible.
fine, but
yeah.
no. Anyway. Anyways, if you just listen to, like, Quadrophenia and you listen to Titus and Andronicus, even they both kind of go through this similar arc. There's a slow start, there's instrumental interludes. The Who doesn't have, like, as brief ones. They're a little more, like, lengthy, but, they keep it moving, and there's a lot of flow, and again, with the drones, like you were saying, where, Titus Andronicus keeps the flow going with the drones. The Who keeps it going with their old school 1973 way, with the samples of the ocean, basically. And, RJ, when you mentioned songs not having a chorus, there are a couple of tracks on Quadrophenia that they're the exact same way. And, I think maybe the thing with doing... Oh, yeah, the callbacks thing throughout the record, like, when you're listening to it and you're like, oh, that was from this song, like, before. Like, The Who does that. I mean, I feel like every rock opera kind of does that just to keep consistency. But, you know.
Narratives.
Quadrophenius and Tommy are both full of that shit. And finally, it goes really hard. But it's equally introspective. Like, it goes hard and punky, but it is also really, with the lyrics, like, super introspective, like I said, and it creates a layer of complexity that I really appreciate, and it's good. And that's the biggest influence I heard when I listened to this, and it really affected me because Quadrophenia is my favorite record. And even still 40, 50 years later is still so relevant. And I think that maybe this Titus album might be able to do the same thing and last 50 years and still be relevant, even though like the musical influences at the time are different. Like you can still revisit it and like feel that. And it's because of their respect to their forefathers, yet their ability to still innovate within their genre, which is really hard to do. I think like punk is kind of hard to innovate in because it's still like sits on that maybe like that 4-chord yelling framework.
There's only so much you can do with the punk formula until it becomes not punk. And
yeah,
the fact that Titus and Andronicus have always been able to make, not necessarily on Airing of Grievances, but on Monitor, you had these 8-minute long punk songs that were very much punk. And when you hear the phrase 8-minute long punk song, you're like, does it not lose momentum? And the answer is it fucking doesn't. It does not lose momentum.
Exactly.
And
yeah,
I'm sure Patrick Stickles is fucking sick and tired of hearing about the Monitor. So like, you know, a lot of people were disappointed with Local Business. I consider myself one of those people. This is such a follow-up that like it's like this album is I just like I don't know there's so much inside of this album. I keep repeating that, but there
like,
is
yeah, absolutely.
It also like I mean like it's just nice to listen to.
That also,
and it plays on your nostalgia. It plays on your nostalgia, but not in like a manipulative way, just in like a nice way. And it's probably not all intentional. Again, I'm probably reading into it, but I think there is some intention there, especially because when you make a rock opera, the first thing that comes to a lot of people's mind is rock opera. Tommy, rock opera, Quadrophenia. Like, those are really the fucking definitive ones if you're, like, into that kind of thing. So you can't make one and not think about it. So that's where I got it. That's, like, that's what I heard. But it's nice. It's like a nice homage, but at the same time, it's its own beast, and I appreciate it a lot. And that's me and Titus Andronicus. But I will say that I don't like it quite as much as y'all.
Well, Mommy, I will say, we'll see what's going on when December rolls around. Because I feel like the more time that I've had with this album, the better it'll get for you. It's already. I mean, it's already, you know.
You should really. I know you guys haven't, and you should really fucking listen to Quadrophenia. Right after what you said, I think I'm gonna
check out Quadrophenia. I've already listened.
All right.
Yeah, it's definitely more.
And Tommy, both of those. Listen to Tommy first, because that's their first attempt.
I've heard Tommy. Yeah.
Okay, then you're fine.
Okay. Well, I still need to listen to Tommy then.
Listen to some Tommy, then go into
closing thoughts, because we did. How much fucking time did we spend on Lamentable Tragedy? It's been a good 30 minutes.
Let's say about
like at least 30 minutes.
45 to an hour.
Which honestly could talk about it more.
I was thinking about.
I still have.
I was thinking about possibly doing like another thing.
Do a write up.
Let's wrap it up.
Let's write up.
Do a write up.
RJ,
sure.
Closing thoughts on the most Lamentable Tragedy.
Okay. Closing thoughts. Okay, I just want to say this one thing, because I want to talk about Stable Boy for a minute. Because Stable Boy is just so good. Like, I liked it, from the get-go. Like, I thought it was kind of weird. Like, I thought it was a weird intro, because, I was like, oh, no future part 5. It should, like, end this, But the thing that I love is that when it comes to, like, the silent tracks, and I love that, like, they literally, like, give you a few seconds, and then Stable Boy comes in. And I just think that's, like, it's, like, literally controlling the pacing to even just adding 7 seconds of silence before it goes into it. But anyways, closing thoughts. I love this album. I didn't really like it that much at first. I didn't say this, but at first I was like, this just feels like some straightforward, punk with some interesting lyrics. But, as you got more into it, I love this album more and more. I love it more and more. More and more I listen to it. And, Patrick said in an interview, he said that, he wanted, whenever he put the idea out in 2013. He put it out before it was even done or even mostly done because he wanted to not give up on the idea and not just throw away and do something else. And you know, I'm just really glad that he did it.
Well,
And,
what's the number?
The number, I'm gonna go with the 9 on this one.
All right.
Hey, there we go. Finally. God, broke these 7s.
Number, Chewy.
What if I just gave it to a 7?
Chewy.
I guess I'll go into my closing thoughts. I don't know what I was expecting, but I just
Brief.
I just keep coming back to diversity. I mean, as some people are saying, like, for whatever reason, I've been reading some of the British reviews of this album. Interesting, they're not so hot on it, which is interesting. They consistently like The Guardian and Q and Enemy. That's weird. Whatever. But like, then they say, well, it kind of loses focus. I think that's kind of the point in a way, where it's supposed to be just so manically ambitious as to represent what it's actually going for in the actual central conceit.
Like, sorry, don't want to interrupt.
No, I mean, you have a thought?
Just like the manicness of it is sort of meta in a way, and it compels the narrative. Because if you feel manic listening to it, then that's like what you're supposed to feel, is always my interpretation. So
yeah, the diversity and the different ways they're able to use sound and influence as character development.
Yeah, it's cool.
You know, diversity as multi-layered, you know, songwriting. It's one of the most impressive things I've seen this year, and I would give this album a 9.3.
All right.
I think it's a fantastic album.
Finishing thoughts?
Yeah, because you already
it's
gave
a
your
10.
10.
It's a
So.
Yeah.
I didn't touch specifically on songs or sounds in the album because I figured y'all did that enough, which is why I went into my little history lesson. But
That's a cool one.
I'll have to give it like a 9.5.
I think this is the only record this year that we have all
universally beloved.
Yeah. I mean, like, we all loved To Pimp a Butterfly and The Powers That Be, which were the first albums we reviewed. But RJ gave it an 8. I gave it a 9.5, I think, and Maddie gave it like a 10. And then for like The Powers That Be, like, I gave it like an 8, RJ gave it like a 9.5, and like Maddie, I'd have to look and see.
That one grew on me though. It's like a 9 now for me.
Yeah, we didn't review The Powers That Be. We reviewed Jenny Death. Okay, we all gave that one a 9. So never mind.
Yeah.
Jenny Death was the first one.
My favorite Death Grips release.
Universally agreeable on, but
that was also our. What was
Premiere.
it? Wasn't that our? Yeah, that was our pilot.
That was our pilot. So this is the first technical episode where we have all agreed on an album. So that's pretty cool.
I think, going by what I know, because I wasn't on the first episode, from what I've seen of the reviews, I think this is the highest rated album.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say that this is the most well.
I know we all like sort of revised our opinions of Carrie and Lowell.
Yeah, I did.
As time went on.
It's sitting at 8 right now. Carrie and Lowell's still on my top 5. I fucking love that record. But
But yeah, this one I still think is the highest review.
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thoughts for me. I already gave it my score, but I just gotta say, as a good conclusion, this album is an important one. When I first heard Dimed Out, I didn't know what to really expect. I know that, one of the reasons I didn't listen to The Monitor was because I didn't like the album artwork. It reminded me of that Bastille album, which had like the same like font and like the same color, and I was like, what is this record? And so finally, a week after a very important event happened in my life, I checked it out, and it just blew me away. And that album, holds a very special place in my heart. So, I heard Dimed Out, and I was like, well, it's good, but it's not, anything on par that's on The Monitor. And I sat down, listened to it one time, wasn't really feeling it, but now, after the times I've listened to it, looked into everything in it, you know, this album, not only does it surpass the Monitor for me, it's such an important record that I think it will last the test of time. I think it's
so
a modern
too.
classic, and I am really, really, really excited to be able to see them 3 times in September, and I'm looking forward to that.
Right.
I'm in the kitchen now, just so you all know.
Ooh,
Transition.
cooking.
Getting into some.
Or trans kitchen.
RJ, what did you have to say?
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh yeah. I was just gonna say this is probably the most acclaimed album on first review release that we all universally
Yeah.
love.
Yep.
So.
I think so. We done it.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Mr.
Congratulations,
Stickles.
Mr. Stickles, and your magic band. I can't. If you ever do decide to follow this up, I can't wait. And you know, basically.
A Most Lamentable Tragedy Part 2. Electric Boogaloo.
Oh man.
Or it's just be.
Problem child.
You know what? This joke is too easy. I don't want any of this.
All right.
Say it. You did. You know. You made that
wait,
Wasp
no,
Urban Outfitters joke earlier. You gotta.
No, man. I'm all about timing.
He's got to protect his pride.
I'm not a funny person. But the thing that makes me appear funny is all timing.
Mm-hmm.
That's not true.
All right.
I'm gonna have to
lying
joke.
to yourself, but that's not true, Chewy.
I'm pretty good at that.
Anyway, we talked about this album for an hour.
So I think it's time to end it,
But
folks.
it's so
It was lovely,
Good.
lovely chatting about this record.
Listen to No Future Part 5, please, for the love of God.
Yeah.
Listen to this record. What do you think? Seriously, this album is very polarizing. Do you like this album?
Like the first, after I listened to it, I messaged to 5 people who I knew needed to hear it. I was like, look, it was 3 a.m. and I was like, guys.
Titus Andronicus is too damn small to be making this type of music. This polarizing music should not be.
I don't think it's polarizing, to be
it's
honest.
very polarizing. If you look at the reviews, man.
I think the reviews generally are extremely universal acclaim almost. I mean, there's dissenting opinions on every album almost.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, very rarely.
There's people who say fucking Dark Side of the Moon is shit. So
yeah, fair enough.
Fair
enough. And those people are wrong. Just because it's popular doesn't mean it's shit. Jesus Christ, get over yourselves.
Exactly.
And
Seriously.
on that note, some things that are going to be going on the site. You'll probably see a write-up for Most Lamentable Tragedy. You might even see a follow-up to this review. Who fucking knows? This album obviously affected us.
We got
we got shit to talk about.
Yep.
We're back on schedule, so yay. We have a YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably listening to that on that. Please subscribe. Please like the video. Comment on the video. Share the video. Do whatever you need to do if you enjoy what we're doing. Because it's totally free and the internet's a machine.
Take the video.
Yeah.
Take it and rub it onto your body.
We love
and then pour
you.
hot oils onto
We love
your
you.
body. And then meet the sun.
All right, that's enough.
All right.
So,
Okay.
let's go.
Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye. I love Titus
Titus
Andronicus.
Andronicus.
Meet the sun.
Glory
Y'all
to Ra.
nerds.